We worldwide, baby.
With DJs from London, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Nottingham, Northampton, Wales, Essex, Bournemouth, Leeds, Manchester, and the USA. We are GY Radio.
There ain't no other station like this.
Get your holidays. Get your weekenders. Get your tickets.co.uk.
Dan Raj and DEM present the blockbuster party of all parties, Them Nice. Red and Black, Saturday 24th of February at KLM Bruce Grove N17 6UR from 9 till 8. Classy and sexy, dress essential, and top shelf drinks and food are on sale. Music by Special Touch, Federal Touch, Swaby Irie, PC Mystery, Desi G, Chairman of the Board, and Just Jazz, aka Jazzy D. Sounds by Quality Assured, hosted by Dan Raj and Co. Early bird tickets £20 and selling fast online from Eventbrite, Tubes, Get Your Tickets and Access UK, or from DJs and usual outlets. You know it's more on the door. Tickets and info 07910 224 847. Drink and ticket deals available. An Aquarian and Piscean group celebrations are welcome. Them Nice, Red and Black, Saturday 24th of February. Another Dan Raj and DEM blockbuster.
It's time for the therapy spot, and it's back on Sunday, the 25th of February, from 12 until 3 p.m. with your hosts, the House Party Queen and Scott the Therapist, and a very special guest host this month, Kerrin St.Omer, a certified mind and body practitioner with her companies www.selfeasesolutions.com. So tune in to the therapy spot on Sunday, the 25th of February, from 12 until 3 p.m. Streaming live on Mixcloud, YouTube and Facebook, and on GY Radio. Welcome to the Breakfast Flight Show Comedy Special with your hosts, Sharky DJ and the House Party Queen, with our co-host, the fabulous Rudy Liquid. This month on the Comedy Special, we have Nathan Caton and Peter Francis. So look forward to the Breakfast Flight Show Comedy Special on Tuesday, the 5th of March from 7 till 10 a.m. Streaming live on Mixcloud and on GY Radio.
That's just how we roll.
Levi Washington and DJ Countryman presents the Leap Year version, where a touch of blue. Day rate, Sunday 31st of March 2024 at Penny Blacks, 132 to 134 Wolfside Street, Birmingham B1 1RQ. You'll be entertained with music by Miss L Vibes, Natural Mystic, Dial Tone Sound, Levi Washington and DJ Countryman. This is a ticket-only event. Tickets start from £7, available from Hitchman, Summit Records and getyourtickets.co.uk. The Leap Year version, We're a Touch of Blue. Day Rave, Sunday 31st of March at Penny Blacks. More info 07597352547.
Are you ready for the ultimate reggae and soul weekend getaway? The Spring Soul Reggae Weekender is coming to the award-winning jacuzzi site, Hemsby Beach Holiday Park, Great Yarmouth, from the 22nd to 25th of March. Over 25 incredible DJs from London, Birmingham, Bedford and Ipswich play the hottest reggae and soul in 3 rooms until 4 a.m, plus live PAs on Saturday. Daytime, there's karaoke, line dancing classes, Zumba fitness, and Wannabe DJ, where you the people get to play, plus a nails, hair and massage centre and 360 camera booth. A 10-minute stroll takes you to the beautiful Hemsby seaside town and its golden beach. Our coaches from across the country make it easier than ever for you to join us for this unforgettable weekend. All-inclusive tickets from just £99. Go to getyourtickets.co.uk, or for more info, WhatsApp 078 777 99455. That's
Calling all medical staff to report to the front desk immediately, please. That's all medical staff to the front desk immediately. Thank you.
Zoom Banquet and Suite Roadshow presents their Doctors and Nurses themed party. Saturday 30th of March at the Bocco Bar, Kilburn High Road, NW6, 6HY from 9:30 till 8. Your consultants on the night are Swaby Irie, MJR Roadshow, ELC, Mr. Romantic and James Capone. Super early bird tickets at £10. It's £15 after plus booking fee from getyourtickets.co.uk. For coaches from Birmingham and Luton, call 07943 854 001. Don't forget your Doctors and Nurses outfits for Saturday 30th of March at the Bocco Bar. Sponsored by Carry On Comedy's Iron Apple 2024, the party holiday of a lifetime.
James Shoe Care is your multi-service store in Barkingside, and Martin Winter has now been trading there for 13 years. Repairing your shoes, cutting your keys, engraving and supplying your sports trophies, stocks, leather and travel goods, repairing your watches and giving you the best service ever. He opens from 9 to 5:30, Monday to Saturday. So pop in. James Shoe Care, 97 High Street, Barkingside, Essex, IG6 2AH. Visit jscbarkingside.co.uk. Call 07985 118 123. James Shoe Care, Barkingside. We're not just a load of cobblers.
GY Radio, the little station with big intentions.
You better know that.
Yo, our DJ has party queen.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Therapy Spot with House Party Queen and Scott the Therapist today. How is everybody? We have not been on for a hot minute, right? But we are back, and we have a very, very special guest today. We have Kerrin St.Omer, all the way live from the US. She's coming on live this morning, bless her. It's very early in the morning for her. But we are here, we are back again. Appreciate we have not been on for a while. And good morning to Lady B, and good morning to Wendy S also. Now forgive me if the music's not loud enough. We're going to fix that in a hot minute. But for now, that was Have Your Fun by Indigo Asa. I'm going to play another track for you guys and talk about what's going to happen in the show today. We've got an exciting show up. So you guys stay tuned and look forward to the show. We've got it going on.
Interlude to the next song. I don't know. Because I was actually... My love, so baby, touch me. My pillow until that back gets falling low. Into my room yellow. Sun is saying hello. I go back to bed. I love your sleeping face. Hey, wake up my sweet babe. It's gonna be a fine day. Feels like this when you're next to me. Feels like this with your heartbeat. Gets to me, so my love is all about. My love is all about. Every little step I take with you, every little problems we go through, every day I wanna spend with you. My love is all about. Nothing's gonna take me far from you. Anything when I can't go through, I really got to fit in you. My love is all about you. Take a walk with me. Feel some nice breeze and dance with dry leaves. Let's go before the sun leaves. You can take my hand even till the end. 'Cause wherever you wanna be, that's gonna be where I wanna be. Feels like this when you touch me. Touch me. Feels like this when you say to me. Say to me. Feels like this when you give to me. Here I am, everyone. I hope everyone is well. Hope everyone is well. It's a therapy spot. I'm glad to be bringing it back. We are back again. It's Sunday. It's the 25th of February, and we are here up until 3 p.m. today. It's a long session, but stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting one. And if you haven't shared the stream already, please share. You know, there's still time. It's going to start. We got bringing in Scott around about 20 past 12. We've got about 5 or 10 minutes to go. Then our guest will be coming in right at the top of the hour. I can't wait, as you know. Always excited about Therapy Spot. Stay tuned, share the stream. You never know what you could gain from this session. It's free therapy for 3 hours. So share the stream. Stay tuned.
You know I loved you, I didn't want to be a friend.
And good afternoon, Marley 4. Good afternoon, lovely.
I'm tired of all this unrequited love. Gonna give my energy to another girl. You'll never know just what you missed in me. I would have given you everything. Never know. conclusion that you're just a tease. 'Cause you know that I love you, babe, every single day.
And you know, we've got some exciting stuff to discuss. Not that grief is exciting, but just to, you know, there's coping mechanisms, there's models, you know, and we can discuss that. Grief is not also about the loss of someone who's gone to heaven. It could be about the loss of a relationship, the loss of a friendship. Each one of those is difficult, and so we should navigate through the myriads of grief and loss. It's going to be an interesting one, so stay tuned. As usual, Willow's trying to join me in the studio. She's such a naughty cat. Attention seeker. You never know. We might have to have a subject on that. Attention seeking animals that get in the way of relationships. So shortly we'll be bringing on Scott the therapist. He's just gone to get himself comfortable. We've got a long session in store here today. And of course, from one tune into another. Now this lady happens to be a favourite of mine. This is Leela Jones. I love her. And don't forget, we got Kerrin St.Omer coming on shortly too. I'm sorry if my levels are low, people. Trying to fix that, okay? Just bear with the House Party Queen on the therapist box.
It could be so simple, but it's like you're pushing me away.
And good afternoon to you, Abina Lee. I haven't seen you in a hot minute. How are you?
A better way to get back to better days. There's a bridge in the middle. You need to meet me halfway instead of playing all these games.
Yes, I've said hello, Wendy. She's just nestling down in my lap right now.
Won't you show me some love? Like you did before.
So in a hot minute, we're going to bring on Scott the therapist. We're all looking forward to seeing him again, right? Gracing our screens with his knowledge of relationships and people. Oh, we look forward to it.
And I think I want
Sunday to everyone in Mixcloud so far. The early risers to the Sunday show from 12 until 3 p.m. today. You're with the House Party Queen, Scott the Therapist, and our very special guest host, Kerrin St.Omer, Mind Body Practitioner. I'm telling you, can't wait. So also, good afternoon to SB Tunes. Greetings to you and everyone in the Mixcloud chat room. So here we are with the therapy spot. I'm about to bring on Scott the Therapist. Is he ready? You done your hair, Scott? So he's done his hair. You're on mute, Scott. You're on mute. Did we mute you? Let's try and unmute you. You need to unmute yourself. Ah, there you go.
I'm not on mute no more.
No, you're not. Not at all. Not at all. You're not. Right. Let me just do something here. How are you, Scott? How are you, sir? How have you been?
I am well. I am getting on with life. Apologies to our regular listeners. We haven't been on for quite a while. We had some challenges around trying to connect and so forth. And I've got some
problems, huh?
Logisticals, not just that, but being a new dad as well. Lots of things to do with the little one. So it's taken up quite a lot of my time. Yes, but it's nice to be back. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. It's good to see your smiling face again. And hello to the audience. Hello to the audience. I hope everyone is good. I hope everyone is fine. And I hope everyone has had a positive morning. Woken up and feel rejuvenated.
Should we say a positive year? Because this is the first show of the year, isn't it? We're in 2024. If we reflect back on 2023, we did some great shows and we reflected on, I just say we are discussing grief and loss today. We have discussed it in a prior show, but we have another expert on the panel who's going to talk a little bit more in depth about that and in context of a relationship also, because that's what we've all been through, right? Relationship loss, whether it be of a loved one or even a loved one in terms of intimacy, that kind of relationship. So it's going to be good to explore that also. And she's coming on round about at past. So, but like I said, we're back here again. It's February already. I cannot believe it's February. Where's the year gone?
It's gone really quickly. It's gone as a haste, but as you said, we did some really good shows last year, and the vibe that we generated from the audience was really positive in terms of digging into different subjects. So we spoke about loss, we spoke about bereavement, we spoke about relationships, we spoke about narcissism, we spoke about moving on, what that means, and we spoke about trauma in terms of the trauma that we hold in ourselves in terms from our childhood and how that can manifest in like adult relationships. Yeah. So we covered a wealth of different kind of subjects, and we kind of just chopped it up a little bit and changed. But overall, I think it was very informative. It was very helpful. It was very useful. And the feedback that we got from the audience.
It was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. So I feel a little bit jaded because we haven't been here for such a while. And I'm just thinking, let's try and reconnect. So normally when I do work and that, I normally... Actually, maybe I should just do a little intro again, shouldn't I?
Well, yeah, do an intro. And then after that, I'd like to find out what you've been doing since the last therapy spot to now, and I'll tell you what I've been doing as well, just very quickly before, whilst we wait for Kerrin to come on. So yeah, let's have a little intro and tell us, what's your gap month's been like?
The gap months have been quite good, but just to give people a little bit of context, so I qualified as a psychotherapist in 2016, but prior to that, I had been working in the helping kind of profession, supporting young people for the past 20 years. So my background was criminal justice. So I used to work in youth offending teams. And I spent 3 years working at one of the major trauma centres in London. So in London, there's 4 major trauma centres: the Royal, St George's, St Mary's and King's. And I worked at St. George's for 3 years, and I managed a team of youth workers in there, and we was working with young people impacted by serious youth violence. So I was based in the emergency department. I'm not medically trained, but my role there was to safeguard young people to make sure that they could leave the hospital in a safe way. And I've got my own practice, so I've been seeing clients privately, and I don't advertise that much because sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. You just get loads of calls and so forth. And I've kind of ventured into a new kind of guise now. So I'm supporting organizations now by doing their clinical practice. So I've got I've got 4 organizations where I provide clinical kind of practice for their frontline staff. So the staff that's working with people, I support the staff in trying to unpick the work, trying to understand how does the work impact them, and then how does that impact the clients that they work with. So it's a new, not new venture, but it's a new avenue that I'm exploring, and I'm quite enjoying it because I get to use my counselling skills, but I also get to use my work experience to help practitioners really think about their work, really think and understand why they do what they do, how can they improve, how can they better their relationships with their clients. So that's an avenue that I'm going down. And as I said earlier, being a dad now is quite it's interesting.
I was going to say, I've seen you post it all over your Facebook about that as well. And apologies if I'm smiling, but I don't know if you can pick up my cat purring on the mic. She's sitting on my lap.
Your cat? I can't hear her.
Oh, well, I can hear her. I feel like I can hear her through the mic. So Mixclouders, tell me if you can hear Willow purring through the mics. But she's made herself very comfortable here, and she's got no intentions of moving right now. But anyway, yes, you are a new father. So, Scott, tell us what that's been like.
At a latter stage of life, it's different. Having a child when you're older, I think you're more grounded, you're more compassionate, and I think you're more caring. And my daughter, her name's Mahalia, she is the apple of my eye. She is a wonderful little person, and she brings me a lot of joy. She brings me a lot of peace. She brings me a lot of contentment. So that's where I find most of my joy now, in terms of just nurturing her. And when I was younger, when I had my son, the knowledge that I had then was really sparse. So I've got all of this knowledge now that I'm able to use with my daughter. And one of the things that I say to a lot of the parents that I work with as well is like the early years, when I talk about attachment theory. So that's one of the subjects that we talk about secure attachment, avoidant attachments. And for me, I'm not worried about academia. I'm not worried about milestones, because, Eurocentric ideas said that a child should be doing so much things by a certain age.
Yeah.
And for me, the main thing is just to nourish her with lots of love and affection. So people comment and they say to me all the time, like, your daughter, she's just bubbly, she's just smiling, and she's just like a bundle of joy. And yeah, she is. She's a bundle of joy, and I try my best to use my professional knowledge now, but also my wisdom in raising her. So I'm hopeful that I'm doing a good job by the way that she's expressing herself and so forth. I think I'm doing a good job.
I'm no doubt that you are, with the the experience that you have, and being a dad again in later life. It's always the same. It's like being a grandparent, right? It's almost like that second chance at parenthood, but without all of the responsibility that goes with it. So you enable yourself to use different tactics, as I would say, to bring up your children. But I'm not sure if I would like to navigate bringing a child up in this era of so much technology. It's so difficult right now, and it's so dangerous. And you really have to be quite savvy as a parent and be, up to the top of your game on technology to see what's happening out there, to see what your children can actually have access to. But you've got a little way away ahead of that.
I've got a way of that, and it's really important that you said that. I think it was about 3 weeks ago, a report came out about young people and their mental well-being, and it's really poor now because they've got so much pressure. So they've got, like when we was going to school, if there was a school bully, we'd see them at school, but then we'd go home and that would be the end of it. We wouldn't see them till the next day. But young people are experiencing all of those kind of harms all through the day on social media. And they was reporting that young people's mental health now is in real challenging times because they've got so much to try and body image. So society is telling young
They've
men
got
that
so
they
much more to navigate through, and our strives and problems, even though we speak about it a lot as parents, what's happened to our children in our day, it was completely different. We didn't act like this, but we didn't have the same sort of stresses. Yes, we did, from the police and not being able to get a job and being biased against in job situations. Yes, we had those struggles, and yes, we went through them, and yes, we should have had our mental health looked at, but we dealt with it. We found coping mechanisms to deal with that, right? May it be drugs, drink, many partners, but we did. But that's not to put a badge of honour on us to say this is what we did and everybody else must follow suit, because it's a different set of problems for our children. We didn't have the body image problems. Yes, we did when we were being compared to white people with hair and having a smaller backside and things like that. It's so apparent how it's turned around now. But the kind of body image problems that they have now is really difficult. When I look at Instagram, I just see beautiful people. Does anyone ever post up a bad picture of themselves? No, they don't. It goes through several sets of beautifying options, let alone picking and choosing which ones they want. And until they're satisfied, that's the one that goes up and everyone thinks, wow, look at her. But if I tell you what I look like when I wake up in the morning, I don't wear a whole load of makeup. I wear some, but I don't look like this in the morning, and nor do those Instagram models, right? And people have to understand that. And I think as parents, that's what we need to teach our children. Being yourself, accepting yourself. And I think we'll talk about acceptance within grief as well as loss.
That's right.
And also, I've been in between the therapy spot, I've been doing a little touch of mindfulness. I've been on a mindfulness course, and I'm not joking, it's pretty much an eye-opener, and I really do recommend it to anybody. There's some really cheap courses out there to give you an overview, and there's some really in-depth ones, but it does make you think about how you respond to situations. All right, and accepting what is here, what's now, what you cannot change, and what you emit out to people. It's brilliant. It really is. So that's what Wholly and Solely recommend. But I see now that Coach K, as she's aptly named herself, is ready and waiting in the green room. So I should say, should we bring her on, or should we play a quick track?
I think we should bring her on. I think we should just.
You ready, Kay? Give me a thumbs up there in the green room. Yeah, she's ready. Let's bring her on. There she is, the lovely Coach K. How are you, my darling?
Hello, I'm good. Despite the time, I'm here. I've done my run out of bed, no pajama bottoms on. I've done that. So, I just make sure the camera angle stays up. No, okay. I'm joking. I'm good. I'm ready.
So, we've brought you on screen. Let's just ensure that you have a proper introduction so everybody knows who you are. I mean, I've sent out a little video reel, but tell us about yourself and your practice very quickly before we get into the crux of the show and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more.
Thank you. So my name's Kerrin St.Omer. I'm calling it Coach K now, is more of like a brand thing. I moved to Canada, as you can hear. I'm originally from the UK, from London, Northwest. I moved to Canada in 2010. I was guided, I'm going to say divinely guided, that was my path. So I moved across. I've been here for 14 years now. I wasn't always in therapy. I wasn't always in the helping profession. I was back in the day, but my main, source of income was accounting, finance. But it wasn't me. It wasn't who I was. I was not passionate about it. I was just doing it to get pay the bills, right? And through, I'm going to say, very deep exploration of self, healing, I really found, or connected, I'm going to say, reconnected to my passion and purpose, which is helping people. So I went back to school, studied, worked in organizations, non-profit for a little bit. And then I moved to Toronto from Vancouver. And it was really hard to find work. And something said to me, just start by start your own practice. So I did in October 2016, have not looked back since. And it's been an iterative process, the highs, the lows, and I'm still here. And I love it all, the highs and the lows. And I work with individuals and also couples. I do some youth and family work as well. And I also want to qualify myself for kind of being here and sitting here talking about relationships. We've all had relationships, every single one of us, highs, lows, breakups, makeups, and everything in between. I've had the privilege, opportunity to see couples over the last 7 years, a whole array of couples, and in different kinds of situations, different nationalities, backgrounds, ages, lengths of relationships, which has enabled me to have the extra knowledge I have. So not just the personal knowledge and experience and from those around me, but from the professional lens as well. So that's what I'm going to bring for you today.
Sorry, thank you for that. That's a lovely introduction, and it's nice to hear about your background. So just to talk about you just a little bit, what's your actual specialisms? Is it in relationship counseling, management, couple therapy?
So I'm a holistic counselor, and I'm also a certified, qualified holistic life coach, mind body practitioner. So what that means is that I look at all the whole aspects of everyone. So not just the mental space, but the emotional, physical, and the spiritual, and how it all ties in together. The spiritual piece is a big one. To be honest, everything's energy. So when we look at ourselves and our lives from all angles and make sure we're holistically treating ourselves, I find that's the best way forward. So yeah, I'm gonna say it in that way. And when I say like the body and the spiritual piece, I also do breath work. I heard you speaking about mindfulness earlier. Guided meditation's a big thing in my practice. And really knowing your why. Why are you here? And who are you? Those are big questions. And I find when people don't have those answers, they can be a bit lost. Right. And so that kind of, I guess, summarizes my holistic practice. But yeah, individuals, couples. Funny enough, last year was a major year for me with couples. I had a lot of interest with couples wanting to come through and get the help. And it's not always easy. Therapy in general, people saying, okay, I'm going to take this bit of money, this disposable income I have, and we all know how hard it is right now, and kind of use it to helping ourselves psychologically, emotionally, and physically as well. So I'm glad that they do come, and I'm happy to be here as well. And thank you, Scotty, for the invite and all your hard work on this. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you for that introduction. And it's interesting because therapy is always a subject that's it's at the tip of our tongues at the moment, right? Mental health, stress, balance in your life, having all those aspects, looking at yourself holistically, which is what you actually mentioned, which I think a lot of people don't really take advantage of. They see one part of their life that's difficult and think that's the bit that I need to concentrate on. But there's other aspects that play and feed into that have a massive impact on what you emit and how you feel, what you give out, what comes into you and how you respond to that. So it's really good to look at that. At the moment, I'm looking at my diet. Since moving to the West Midlands, it's been awful, right? And that's because of the foods that I can't naturally get when I'm in London. It's a different type of food. It's based on more takeaway and fast foods. And, that's what I'm eating. And I'm like, I can't keep eating this. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do, So it's really interesting that you talk about things like that. And this is what we're bringing to the show today. So in order to kick off and stop me talking for a hot minute, because I've been talking for a little while, let's get on to the show that we were talking about. And we spoke about grief and the context of grief within relationships also. And first of all, let's look at grief, what grief is, and perhaps even talk about the 5 stages of grief, which I'll leave to my top panelists up there. I don't know who wants to start.
I'm going to let Kerrin start. I was going to talk about the stages in terms of denial, acceptance, anger. But Karina, maybe we'll do one at a time. You do anger or denial. I do anger. And
So what I'll do, I'll kind of just summarize the whole process, right? The stages of grief. So we have stages of grief. Any loss we encounter, there will be grief, right? Particularly when we are speaking about relationships. What I will say is a lot of the I'm going to say losses or grief, sorry, that the grief stages, they're similar to when you lose someone to death. So when I look at the stages of the person who dumps someone, and the dumpee, the person who's been dumped, they're similar, but they're not the same. And we're going to go into that. But a lot of them are similar to when you lose a person, right? There's a lot of losses there. And so that's why I wanted to kind of explain that. And yeah, definitely, Scotty, we can kind of break that down and kind of like bounce off each other with that. So I'm going to go into some of those stages, right? So
and I agree with you there in terms of the loss of relationship is similar to the loss of a loved one, and you go through the exact stages. Sometimes you don't even think about that, and the way that you're actually responding. And it's great that you guys are gonna go through it. I believe there's 5 stages of grief, right? There's 5 stages that people actually go through.
Interestingly enough, there's about I'm going to say 7 on average, depending on which approach you're coming from, therapeutic approach. That there could even be more, but for the purpose of relationships, we're going to stick to 5. And so the 5 stages, I'm going to speak about the 5 stages of when you are. What we're going to do, we'll do the.
Just to recap, whilst you're looking for that, the 5 stages of grief, just in case people don't know, is denial, right? And then it's anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Those are the ones I believe we're going to go through.
Yeah, that's the Kubler-Ross kind of model. So Kubler-Ross was a European psychologist, I think, and she worked in hospice, and she interviewed quite a lot of people, and she found out there was this commonality that they had around when they lost someone. Those were the 5 stages that they went through. And as Kerrin said, when you lose a relationship, even though that person isn't physically, they're still here, it's like a bereavement because you have to go through this process. And sometimes when we're helping people, we can kind of see where they are in the process, and then we might tailor the therapy to like bring them through the different stages. So just wanted to kind of input that.
So Kerrin or Scott, in the context of a relationship, if we go through the stage of denial, what happens in the denial stage in relationship loss?
Could I jump in?
Of course.
Could I jump in and then give all of the stages, and then we can like do them individually, just so that the listeners, sometimes like we know what we know, but sometimes the listeners may not know it all and get a bit lost. Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
Thank you, my dears. All right, so briefly, just speaking about some of the losses, things that you lose when you lose a relationship, right? So I'm just gonna read off a few. So we got loss of a best friend, loss of faith, loss of confidence, loss of social status, loss of a home sometimes, loss of intimacy, loss of financial security. So as I'm saying this, I'm sure everyone can relate. Loss of support system, right? Loss of identity. So that's quite a few there. So I just wanted to give a few examples of just, how many, what that kind of looks like. But in terms of the stages, so for somebody who is the dumpee, like someone who's been dumped, the 5 stages are denial, depression, anger, acceptance, and recovery, right? So that's when you've been dumped. So just to take like a note of that: denial, depression, anger, acceptance, recovery. So are we going to speak about that and then go to the person who's the dumper? How do you want to do it?
Yeah, if we talk about that first, talk about people who've been dumped. Yeah.
Cool. So Scotty, denial.
Let's talk about denial. Denial is what it says on the tin. it's denying that this is actually happening. It's like non-acceptance of the loss. It's a shock to your system. It's you shut down. You just can't cope with the reality that this loss has occurred because you feel all of these different types of emotions. You might have invested a lot in that person. You can't believe that they've dumped you. You can't understand it. So in terms of trying to cope with it, you just deny it's happening. You just, some people, they will still say, actually, I'm still with that person. It can lead to where the person in denial can become obsessed over this person. They can start doing things, start stalking, start going to their house or start going to places where they hang out because they just can't understand what's happening. So they deny the reality of it. So denial is what it says. It's denial of the fact that the relationship has ended, and denial that I have to move on, denial that I have to cope. So that's denial.
Do you think it's because, do you think it's a stage where people are just hanging on to relationships when they know it's ended? Is it that stage? When you can glaringly see that a man doesn't want someone or a woman doesn't want someone, and you feel like someone's just hanging on, just in almost desperation, like denial of the fact that relationship has actually ended.
Yeah.
I was thinking when you were saying that, and when I think about endings in relationships, there's different types of endings. So you'll have a mutually agreed ending where you'd have adult conversations. You're both respectful, and you might think, actually, this isn't healthy, this isn't working out, and you kind of agree to go your own way. You have the sudden loss of someone in a relationship, and then as Kerrin was saying, sometimes you have a relationship where someone is unhappy and the person might be happy and they're oblivious to the person's unhappiness, and then they end the relationship. And to the person that's on the receiving end, the dumpee, that denial can be quite, they just can't understand it. They haven't kind of had that opportunity to explore what was going on in the relationship. They just feel like they're a total loss, so they just deny it. So I think it depends on how the relationship has ended. If it's a mutually agreed ending, I think the stages are different because there's an acceptance kind of. You still go through the 5 stages, but they're more of like a closing kind of. We say we want closure, so you manage to kind of end the relationship in a healthy way.
Yeah.
I will add to that in regards to the denial stage is nobody wants to be rejected. Right? So where you feel rejection, you feel it here, rejection. So what does the mind do, which the mind does all the time? It wants to keep us in survival mode. So it blocks us from feeling said emotion in our body, right? So, okay, that's what denial is about. It's not connecting to the truth. Right? So, and that's what the rejection, like who really wants to feel it? So denial kicks in to kind of stave off having to connect to that emotion.
I think that's where your ego kicks in as well, in regards to that rejection. Your ego is dented, and as you say, you go through those stages of not being able to handle it. And in the course of mindfulness, actually, it talks about discussing your ego and how to perhaps keep that on even keel. So, like I said, it's interesting that you guys are mentioning this.
You know what's really, because I try and whenever I'm having these conversations, I try and kind of link back to past experiences. And when you spoke about rejection, Kerrin, I was thinking about your lived life. So if you suffered rejection at school, if you suffered rejection from your parents, when a relationship ends and you're in denial, all of those past rejections almost come back to haunt you. So it's like a triple. That past traumatic trauma that you've experienced, that ending of that relationship could potentially bring back all of those feelings that you had from childhood around your self-worth, around your self-esteem. And I think that's a really powerful word around rejection, because nobody wants to feel rejected. I think it's one of the most difficult feelings to cope with, because you're worried about how people perceiving you and so forth. So that's a real kind of defense mechanism that someone might adopt to just deny the truth of what's really happening and how they're feeling about this end of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose, have you been through rejection? Or that's kind of like, or could you say traumatic rejection?
Yeah, I think on a personal tip, we've all had relationships that have ended, and I think that's what gives us the empathy to talk about it in a therapeutic way, because we've all had to go on our own healing to become better versions of ourselves. So from early, I think they say that your first love is probably the most traumatic loss that you experience. And it's weird because my childhood sweetheart, when that relationship ended, I was devastated for years. But me and her, we're good mates now. We're really good friends, and yeah, plenty of losses, plenty of.
I suppose I asked that question because sometimes the way that a relationship ends can formulate how we deal with relationships subsequently. Okay, you've had a traumatic breakup or you've been rejected, and suddenly your next relationship, whereas you were quite confident, you suddenly become very clingy and in hope that you can keep this relationship, or you can become very standoffish and build that brick wall. Or you've come from a really good ending in a relationship, move on to your next one thinking, this is how it's going to work, and suddenly you just hit with all this kind of trauma and or rejection and having to deal with that. And I suppose the most important things are the coping mechanisms and talking about those. Is it talking? Is it going to the gym? Is it through meditation? Is it through mindfulness? And what really works for who, I suppose it's about working through that, and that's where therapy comes in.
Yeah, and I think, Kerrin, you're going to talk about that because the last stage that you mentioned was recovery. So we talked a little bit about denial. Let's go to the next one before we go to our ad break. Go ad break in about 8 minutes. So what's the next stage for the dump?
And it's, well, you kind of, you brought something up there. You asked the question, have we been rejected? Have we been on that end of things? Because some people haven't been a dumpy. Which is why it's important to look at that, the stages and the differences in them, because some people, I know you mentioned we can all empathize. Maybe some of us can't empathize, which is why it's important to understand what a dumpy will go through so that we can develop that empathy. So it's great we're talking about the differences between the two, because the dumper, there isn't the denial for the dumper. So when we go through the 5 stages of the dumper, you'll see that denial's not on there. Because they've already been through their process before they've ended the relationship.
It's interesting.
It's weird you say that, because there's this school of thought around men and women, and maybe the audience might say something about relationships and about women when they decide to leave a relationship. Sometimes from the conversations that I've had with a lot of guys and clients, a woman will check out way before the relationship ends. Like they're checked out, and then when it ends, it's almost like they've already done that preparatory work around how they're going to manage and how they're going to cope. Yeah. And that's a statistic for like people to think about divorces. So 70% of divorces are initiated by women. So that means they've already thought about leaving before they actually leave the relationship. Sorry, Kate, you was going to say the next stage.
No, thank you. That's true. That's a big topic right there.
It's a massive topic.
It is.
We might cover it on the next day. I might have to bring you back at a different time than Canadian time so that we can really chop it up, because women and men and how they view the world, I think it would be a really good discussion. But let's think about the next stage before we have our ad break.
Depression, the sadness, the very low vibrational energy that we feel, or dumpies feel. They're sad. And I've put some losses up there. I don't know if everyone can see. These are some of the losses, and there are more, but these are only some, and we call them secondary losses. The first initial loss is the relationship, the person, and these are some. And if you just look at some of these losses, this is your whole life to many people. You thought you were going to have this. You had dreams of the future. Some people are planning like or into retirement, and now you don't have this person. You may not even have your home. Your finances may have been tied to this person. This person was your support parent, and now they're gone. And you're like, WTF, I'm sitting here by myself. How am I going to do this? Right? So some people can really sink into depression. And also, just to make a point as well with the stages, there's no time length there's no set time length. Some people can sit in one stage for a very, very long time. And we call that complex grief, right? If someone sits in the depressive stage for a really long period of time, we call it complex grief. It can lead to a whole host of other like mental health and physical problems. But yeah, depression is a big one. The sadness. And also to say as well, we move through the stages. It doesn't mean that we finish being sad and we move over to another stage and we don't come back to being sad or depressed. We can move on and have a great day, and then the next day we're sad again, right? So it's not linear. The stages of grief are not linear.
Oh wow, it's a lot there. And we've had some chats from the Mixcloud, and I think it says Raw NS Shorty says good afternoon, Sunday blessings, and Empress Sabina Lee says she totally agrees with whatever part he was talking about just then, and Marley Four says very true, Scott. So yes, thank you. So sorry, as you were saying, Kerrin, going through the 5 stages of Dumpy.
I was just saying that it's not linear. So I was speaking on the depression. It's this intense sadness, and speaking about depression as a whole, it can really debilitate you, not being able to get out of bed, not being able to wash and shower. And some people are functioning. They're depressed, but they're functioning because there's mild, moderate depression, and there can be different stages. So if it's mild or moderate, people can be walking around and you don't even know that they're depressed or that they're feeling this kind of way inside because they've got to get on with things, and they do. But when it's severe, you're not even getting out of bed.
So how do people recognize if they're going through one of these stages? Is it only when they decide to seek therapy? Do most people, I suppose what I'm trying to say is that most people could be at a further stage, and then when they should really recognize that they're going through some of this loss or grief or whatever you might say.
I would say it's hard to know when you're in it. I mean, there's a point where, I've suffered from depression before, and there's a point where you're just in it. And there's a point where you're like, sugar, honey, iced tea, I'm in it. I'm actually depressed right now. And there's that recognition. And that's awareness, because awareness has to start. Awareness comes first before the healing and all the rest of it. So that awareness that I'm in depression, or you can, if you have people around you, some people have the privilege of having other people around them to say, hey, kind of like in a harsh way, either get up, fix up, or what, are you okay, right? But some people don't have that. So it's harder when you're by yourself to recognize it because you're in it. So it's hard to see something from the outside if you're inside, right? So it can be difficult. So that initial awareness and then that desire to heal or feel better and then seek help. So when you go to somebody professionally and you really look at the 5 stages, I do believe it helps when you see something, I guess, in black and white, and you are helped to identify it within yourself and kind of feel, okay, I'm supported. It's okay. I'm here. I'm going to get through it. And so I guess in answer to your question, it's not easy to spot for everybody.
Thank you. And with that, we're going to have to go to a short break. Once we go to a short break, we'll play a track and then we'll come back and join this discussion. Thank you so much, guys. We'll be back shortly.
We worldwide, baby. With DJs from London, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Nottingham, Northampton, Wales, Essex, Bournemouth, Leeds, Manchester, and the USA. We are GY Radio.
There ain't no other station like this.
Get your holidays. Get your weekenders. Get your tickets.co.uk.
Dan Raj and DEM present the blockbuster party of all parties, Them Nice. Red and Black, Saturday 24th of February at KLM Bruce Grove N17 6UR from 9 till 8. Classy and sexy, dress essential, and top shelf drinks and food are on sale. Music by Special Touch, Federal Touch, Swaby Irie, PC Mystery, Desi G, Chairman of the Board, and Just Jazz, aka Jazzy D. Sounds by Quality Assured, hosted by Dan Raj and Co. Early bird tickets £20 and selling fast online from Eventbrite, Tubes, Get Your Tickets and Access UK, or from DJs and usual outlets. You know it's more on the door. Tickets and info 07910 224 847. Drink and ticket deals available. An Aquarian and Piscean group celebrations are welcome. Them Nice, Red and Black, Saturday 24th of February. Another Dan Raj and DEM blockbuster.
It's time for the therapy spot, and it's back on Sunday, the 25th of February from 12 until 3 p.m. with your hosts, the House Party Queen and Scott the Therapist, and a very special guest host this month, Kerrin St.Omer, a certified mind and body practitioner with their companies www.selfeasesolutions.com. So tune in to the therapy spot on Sunday, the 25th of February from 12 until 3 p.m. Streaming live on Mixcloud, YouTube and Facebook, and on GY Radio. Welcome to the Breakfast Flight Show Comedy Special with your hosts, Sharky DJ and the House Party Queen, with our co-host, the fabulous Rudy Liquid. This month on the Comedy Special, we have Nathan Caton and Peter Francis. So look forward to the Breakfast Flight Show Comedy Special on Tuesday, the 5th of March from 7 till 10 a.m. Streaming live on Mixcloud and on GY Radio.
That's just how we
Levi Washington and DJ Countryman presents the leap year version where a touch of blue. Day rate Sunday 31st of March 2024 at Penny Blacks 132 to 134 Wolfside Street, Birmingham B1 1RQ. You'll be entertained with music by Miss L Vibes, Natural Mystic, Dial Tone Sound, Levi Washington and DJ Countryman. This is a ticket-only event. Tickets start from £7. Available from Hitchman, Summit Records and getyourtickets.co.uk. The leap year version, We're a Touch of Blue. Day rave, Sunday 31st of March at Penny Blacks. More info 07597352547.
Are you ready for the ultimate reggae and soul weekend getaway? The Spring Soul Reggae Weekender is coming to the award-winning jacuzzi site, Hemsby Beach Holiday Park, Great Yarmouth, from the 22nd to 25th of March. Over 25 incredible DJs from London, Birmingham, Bedford and Ipswich play the hottest reggae and soul in 3 rooms until 4 a.m, plus live PAs on Saturday. Daytime, there's karaoke, line dancing classes, Zumba fitness, and wannabe DJ where you the people get to play, plus a nails, hair and massage centre and 360 camera booth. A 10-minute stroll takes you to the beautiful Hemsby seaside town and its golden beach. Our coaches from across the country make it easier than ever for you to join us for this unforgettable weekend. All-inclusive tickets from just £99. Go to getyourtickets.co.uk, or for more info, WhatsApp 078 777 99455. That's
Calling all medical staff to report to the front desk immediately, please. That's all medical staff to the front desk immediately. Thank you.
Zoom Banquet and Suite Roadshow presents their Doctors and Nurses themed party. Saturday 30th of March at the Bocco Bar, Kilburn High Road, NW6, 6HY from 9:30 till 8. Your consultants on the night are Swaby Irie, MJR Roadshow, ELC, Mr. Romantic and James Capone. Super early bird tickets at £10. It's £15 after plus booking fee from getyourtickets.co.uk. For coaches from Birmingham and Luton, call 07943 854 001. Don't forget your Doctors and Nurses outfits for Saturday 30th of March at the Bocco Bar. Sponsored by Carry On Comedy's Iron Apple 2024, the party holiday of a lifetime.
James Shoe Care is your multi-service store in Barkingside, and Martin Winter has now been trading there for 13 years. Repairing your shoes, cutting your keys, engraving and supplying your sports trophies, stocks, leather and travel goods, repairing your watches and giving you the best service ever. He opens from 9 to 5:30 Monday to Saturday. So pop in. James Shoe Care, 97 High Street, Barkingside, Essex, IG6 2AH. Visit jscbarkingside.co.uk. Call 07985 118 123. James Shoe Care, Barkingside. We're not just a load of cobblers.
Here's GY Radio, the little station with big intentions.
You better know that.
So we will bring them back shortly. We're just going to play this one track, and then come back. I hope you guys have been enjoying this.
I remember back to the day when we used to hang out and play. Looking forward to a Saturday, just you and I from around the way. Every day was like a holiday. And growing
So
up
some
like a
very
runaway.
interesting stuff coming out there. I hope you guys are
That's the
paying
way
attention.
I belong to be. Always in each other's company. Can't imagine you not being there. Remember when you came rolling in my head. So much more in this relationship to share. So trust me,
So we got some great comments in Mixcloud and we'll discuss them after. Thank you, Lady B, and thank you, Empress Lee.
forever. Now the two of us are all grown up, and you told me that you found someone. I'm so happy that you fell in love, cause I know that you'll be good for her, just as long as we don't grow apart. Cause I've always got you in my heart, and I never like to know that you're ever far away when I call. Imagine you not being there. Remember when you came rolling my hair. So much more in this relationship to share. So trust me, soulmate, best friend, brother. I got you.
So this song is about best friends, you know. And talking about this subject, we do have to look out for people, right? Talking about depression and not being able to recognise it.
My best friend, you helped when things were rough. My best friend, I can't thank you enough. My best friend, I know this bond will never break. Can't imagine you not being there. Remember when you came rolling my hair.
So guys, we got you back. I'm going to change around the screen formation in a second. That song, Came Rose in Your Hair, talking about best friends, right? Looking out for you. And not everyone always has someone in their life to be right by them and to also take care of them. And sometimes we deal with, as you said quite rightly so, loss of a friendship or a relationship also. But anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about, guys. Sorry about that. We had to have an ad break.
No problem. I just wanted to say, Miss House Party Queen, your music selection is always on the money. You've always got really good tunes to play and keep the audience entertained. So maybe I'll have to come round the background and probably get one of those memory sticks and try and get some of your music selection. But before the break, we was talking about the dumpy, and I'm going to kind of have a conversation with Kerrin about this now. So we're going to kind of do some kind of bouncing back and forth. So Kerrin, we was talking about depression and what that looks like and what it feels like. And from our own experiences from working with our clients, it can seem like quite a dark place. And you talked about moderate and clinical depression. So I think it's natural for people to go through depression at the stages in their life when they're feeling low, motivation is low.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about clinical depression, that's when you've been seen by someone medically and then they've determined that you've been depressed for a certain period of time, and they would say, right, that's clinical depression. But in terms of relationships, depression looks like not being able to get out of bed, worrying about the loss all the time. It looks like not looking after yourself. It looks like not eating well. It looks like not socializing. And as Kerrin said, when you're in it, it's hard to kind of identify it in yourself. And that song that you played is really kind of, it's helpful. It's when you're
Okay, Scott, I'm going to stop you there for a second. Scott, sorry, you're not coming through clearly. It sounds a bit Dalek-y. I don't know if something's gone on with your mic, but we've got a couple of people saying, I can't hear you clearly, and nor can I. I don't know if you can hear him clearly as well. Kerrin, are you experiencing the same problem?
It's a bit low. I can make out what you're saying, it's a bit low. So
Okay.
can I'll just chime in while maybe you have a
Just
try and
reset your
sort that
mic.
out.
I'm gonna have a look.
Scott.
I'm gonna.
So yeah, okay. So
Is
let
that better?
I'm going to jump in and continue off the back of what you were saying, Scotty, when it comes to depression, what it actually looks like within the loss of a relationship. Well, similar to, I'm going to say, general depression, but there is so speaking about some of the symptoms, the withdrawing from your social setting. When you look at some of the losses, a lot of our social settings are tied in with our partners. And so when they have the relationship, sometimes it's a whole loss of a friendship group, and then maybe sometimes the embarrassment or the shame, I'm going to join this group again or go, and then they're going to ask me questions or keep asking me if I'm okay. And so it's just easy if I just stay away, right? That can be a part of depression as well. That can be a part of depression as well. That the physical symptoms, again, just wanting to stay in bed, wanting to avoid talking about it. That's actually a symptom as well. Again, the mind wants to protect itself, protect the individual. So kind of like not talking about it is a way of also protecting themselves.
I think there you go. That sees internet just going there. And I liked what you said there, that I would say an analogy, it really isn't, where you said that the mind tries to protect itself. So therefore you go through these stages in what you emit out there. Now, very quickly, the Mixcloud chat room, Lady B says, many times when going through the stages and you aren't aware of the stages, you begin to internalize the feelings and create a narrative that you are not good enough. And Empress Lee says, I didn't know I was depressed until it was pointed out to me. I don't know if you want to comment upon any of those comments there.
So as we were saying, sometimes you don't know, you don't realize, you get so caught up in the new identity as a single person, as a dumpy, you get caught up in that identity. So you don't even realize sometimes, Can you just repeat what the First Lady said? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, because I said that quite quickly. She said many times when going through the stages and you aren't aware of the stages, you begin to internalize the feelings and create a narrative that you are not good enough. I think that's what I was trying to say earlier on, but it all came out a little bit wrong. So Lady B actually put it there quite succinctly. Yes.
Absolutely. It tied into the rejection and the questions, especially if you didn't, Scotty was talking about a mutual separation, especially if you don't get that conversation. You can be sitting there left with, what's wrong with me? Why am I not good enough? And then what happens? A whole bunch of childhood wounds comes up, which is why it's so important to get help and say, okay, I've got to figure this out. And I know when I fell into depression, it initiated because of work. But when I fell into depression, everything came up from zero to that point, because it can trigger that I'm going to say that desire to heal. And if you're going to heal properly, you got to go back to the start and beyond and before to really heal properly. So in a way, this is what I always say. Sorry,
it's my fault.
Listen, this is what I always say about depression. It's a blessing. It can be a blessing because it literally knocks us down. When I fell into depression, my body couldn't move. My body said, no, enough is enough. You're not listening. You're not pausing to look after yourself. And my body shut down, which is why there's a lot of physical symptoms of depression as well, because your body's really, your body's trying to work with you and your mind's kind of trying to work against you. And your body's like, no, we're not doing this. I'm going to shut you down. Now you have no choice to stop and listen to yourself. And there's a lot that can come up if you allow it. But it's important to get the help and not do it on your own.
Thank you. Sorry for that. It was just that you mentioned about childhood traumas, and I know that Scotty has touched upon it as well. And a lot of our therapy and a lot of our state of mind can relate back to childhood traumas. Do you think that we all have childhood traumas that we've all experienced?
100%.
100%. And that therapy really should start with dealing with those childhood traumas first before we start even stepping into what the real crux of all the problems are. Because I start thinking back to my childhood. And to be quite honest with it, most of it was pleasant. I can't say I had a traumatic childhood. The only trauma I experienced was being very ill as a child. I was separated from people a lot. I was hospitalised from before I could walk up until the age of 13, before I grew out of asthma. Wasn't able to do any sports at school. So my friendships were quick, short friendships in hospital. None in my infant years. And so I struggled in my junior years, because that's when I started to go into school and start mixing with people. And then secondary years, still struggling to form those kind of long-term relationships, because it didn't start from infant years. So, you know, when I start thinking about myself and bringing out some truth here, you know, my trauma is perhaps is friendships, longevity of friendships, and keeping those, because I wasn't able to, being a sick child.
Yeah.
Can
And that's
you guys
trauma.
hear me now?
Yes, very clear.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
Much better. That is trauma. It's not what happens to you, it's also what doesn't happen to you, what you don't experience, that can lead you to have these I would say develop these patterns, traits, behaviors that actually don't work for you as an adult. That's why it's so important to say, okay, therapy, I'm going to commit, because it's a process. It's not let me do this 1 or 2 times and I'll be good. There's a process and there are layers. Right. That's why it's so important. And I really only work with people who are willing to commit. I say to them, look, this is a process. This is not an overnight, and it's not going to be comfortable. So are you ready for it? You know?
And I think that's important when we're thinking about therapy as well, because there's short-term therapy. So we're going to think about the dumpy and so forth, but just to kind of put a snippet in terms of how we might practice when you see a therapist. So normally when people go to their GP and they get a therapist, it's normally 6 weeks, and that's based around CBT, like trying to change your thoughts. But when we engage in a counseling relationship, we kind of negotiate the contract to see how long we're going to work together, the fees, the regularity, and connecting with each other. And sometimes at the 6-week period, we might assess it to see the distance travel. But as Kerrin's saying, that deeper work requires much more commitment. It requires much more vulnerability. It requires much more openness. It requires much more challenging yourself. And to highlight around childhood trauma, when I trained as a therapist, I had to do 450 hours. And one of my placements was in a male domestic violence project. So it was working with men who had been abusive to their partners. And most of them was referred through social care because they wanted to kind of have contact with their children. But to get that contact, they had to do 13 weeks of group work and 12 weeks of one-to-one therapy. And I can hand on heart say 9 out of 10 of the guys that I supported, their violence and their inability to express themselves was related to childhood trauma. So when they were growing up, they weren't showing emotion, they was only showing anger. And the work that I do now with young people, that's one of the reasons why I became a therapist. While I was working at the youth offending service, young people would just tell me their trauma. They would just tell me their life story. And I didn't understand why. And I had a clinical psychologist who said, why don't you try counseling? I tried it, and I really kind of, this is what's going on. It's the relationship. So in regards to triggers, when you're an adult and you are rejected and you go through depression, all of your childhood stuff will manifest. All of those feelings and emotions that you experience as a child, if you was rejected, and it could have been a rejection at school, it could have been rejection by your parents, it could have been rejection by your friends. As you said, Alison, not being able to make friends, all of those things will play out later on in your life. So if we suffered rejection as a child and we wasn't able to make friends, how is that going to impact you as an adult? Are you going to be trusting of people? You're going to be weary of people. So there's so much layers to this thing. As Kerrin was saying, you have to commit to it. Go on, Kerrin, you'll say.
You rolled into anger wonderfully, because anger is a secondary emotion. I put like a little definition of that. I'm going to read it. It says a strong passion or emotion of displeasure or antagonism excited by a real or supposed injury. Right? Supposed injury. That's the important key words there. Or insult to one's self or others, or by the intent to do such injury. So anger's a very strong emotion. However, it's a secondary one, because there's always a primary one or many primary ones underneath. Like you said, rejection can be one of the primary emotions, and then anger's a secondary one. A lot of us know how to display anger and know what anger is all about, and can do that because they've seen it as well in their upbringing and their surroundings. But maybe they haven't seen the processing and actually people around them, feeling what's underneath. So they don't know how to. So they display what they know how to. Again, it's a survival thing as well, because of a potential injury, something going on the inside. So that's where the anger comes in. I'm dumped. How dare this person reject me? Sometimes it can even move into aggression and rage.
And I think that's really important.
Scotty, just before you carry on there, because we've just got some questions in the Mixcloud that I really wanted you guys to have a quick look at and speak about. And Empress Lee says, how does one approach a person going through depression and mental issues but refuses to seek help due to the fact that they have serious trust issues? That's a question, isn't it? I'll say that again just in case. How does one approach a person going through depression and mental health issues but refuses to seek help due to the fact that they have serious trust issues? And can answer that one, or maybe we'll come back to it. But there's another one from Touch T saying, been listening since the beginning. My gosh, I went through everything you all have mentioned. Being able to be on the other side humbled me 100% and made me appreciate my friends who stood by me daily and got me through an absolute hell of depression and trauma. And without these friends, there would be no Tyrone to write this sentence. That's quite poignant. Thanks, Touch T, for sharing that.
That's very powerful. That's very powerful. That's the last part of the journey Touch T's talking about recovery and maintenance and the importance of friends. And in regards to the question before around the listener that's talking about how do I support someone that has depression, that has issues around trust in relationships, and first of all, they're in that state of depression, so they might not even realize that they are there. So as a friend, you can see that. And from my experience, I would advise you to just keep having conversations with her, because your relationship, you see, as therapists, we've got all of this training that we do. So we can practice in Freudian, we can be Gestalt, we can be person-centered, and I call it your bag of knowledge in your bag. But the relationship is the key, because if there is no relationship, then I can't go into my bag to get any of the theory to help you. So in regards to the person that asked the question, I would say continue supporting your friend, because she's in this dark place at the moment, or he is. And it's about maintaining that relationship, so that at least there's somebody that's stable and consistent around them. And when the time comes for it, because you can't make anyone go to therapy. People go to therapy when they decide to go to therapy. So I could have been depressed for a long period of time. In my depression, I couldn't see the benefits of therapy. So I didn't buy into it. But when I was ready to make some changes, then I saw the help of having a therapeutic relationship. So some really good points there. And I think with the anger, one of the things I say for people to understand and recognize anger is that anger is an emotion. And as Kerrin said, it's a secondary emotion. And if I was to think about an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg would be the anger. But if you go below the waterline, the anger is driven by all of these different feelings. So when I worked in that Mel project, I used to have 100 emotive words. So when they used to say, I just felt angry, I would say, no, let's look at the piece of paper. Let's see what the feeling was. Actually, I felt a sense of rejection. I felt a bit vulnerable. I felt a bit lost. I felt a bit confused. But they didn't have that emotional language to express that. So the anger was the natural course for them to take. I can't express the real feeling. Anger is what I know and what I've learned, so I'm just going to express anger.
And can
Kerrin,
I?
you was going to say?
Yeah, I just want to add to the comment. How do you help somebody if they have trust issues? Couple of things, and yes, being there to support them, absolutely. But someone is only going to start that healing journey when they're ready, and nobody can tell them when they're ready, and they need to be in order to get through it. And it could be years. Some people can be in depression for years. The mild or moderate state for years, and some people even, like you said, in the clinical depression without diagnosis or with diagnosis for years. It's like that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. That person has to be tired or sick and tired of being sick and tired to then begin the process. And what I will also say is this, be careful of compassion fatigue. As someone who supports other people with mental health, you can absorb, I'm speaking about energy, you can absorb. Depression is the lowest vibration energy. Underneath that is suicide, right? So that is so low that if you are around someone who is depressed all the time, without even knowing it, you could be absorbing their low frequency. And it can get to the point where you are exhausted yourself. It's called compassion fatigue. So you really got to be careful. And yes, you're supporting, but you want to look after yourself as well, because compassion fatigue is just that. It can exhaust you as well. And you want to help and you're stuck, because like the lady was asking, like, how do you do it? There's only so much you can do in answer to your question. Being there as, in a capacity, but making sure it doesn't completely take away from you, because ultimately everyone has to make a choice if they want to get better, and only they can say the time is now.
And that's a really good point there. Because I think when I'm trying to help people understand about compassion and fatigue and being around people that are in a challenging place, I always get people to think about when you go on an airplane and they say if there is an emergency, even if you are with child, you must put your oxygen mask on first so that you can breathe, and then you're in the position to help those around you. So for the listener that's asked the question, I would say make sure you're putting your mask on so that you're able to breathe, you're able to stay grounded, so that you can support your friend in a healthy way. And when the time has come, I'm sure she will, or he, I'm not sure if it's a male or female, will access some type of support when they're at that low point. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. It's because the chat room has just been going a little bit crazy with comments on this, and I just wanted to read them out. I know we need to move on, but I don't want to miss any of this chat that's going on in here. And Touch T says, trust has to be put aside. Vulnerability is something you have to let go, in my opinion. And also Empress Lee says, I'm really worried, and this is the young lady that spoke about depression. I'm really worried. He has also cut ties with his young children and very rarely turns his phone on. Lady B says, when I had my breakdown, people around me didn't support me the way I felt needed it. I went on to learn that it was my responsibility to get the help needed. That's a very good point there, which I'm sure our host will come back on. Adelaide McKenzie says, I'm saved managing group facilities at my drug and alcohol service. I want to touch on some points here. You guys make this topic very understandable. Well done for the panel, and community needs to hear this. And Empress Lee lastly says, Kerrin, I agree, because I find myself avoiding the person who is depressed because of the way it makes me feel. And it's really good that you touched upon vibrational energy. I've been learning about that and people's vibrations and the vibrations that we have that we can't see, that we give off and take in also. So thank you, Mixclouders.
Yes, thank you. It's an interesting conversation in regards to trying to understand the different stages and all the things that happen at that different stages. So anger is, as Kerrin said, a secondary emotion to hide the main feelings that you're feeling. And they could be a wealth of different emotive feelings. And then with anger, we move on to a stage of acceptance. And the person who's dumped, they get to a point where they're learning to accept what's happened. They've gone through some challenges. They've probably gone through this bout of depression, anger, because as Kerrin said, it can go around in a circle. And they probably got to that point where they're at this low point. I can't be angry anymore. And I have to accept this. And what does acceptance look like? Acceptance looks like just acknowledging your feelings, coming to terms with the feelings that you have in terms of the loss, the starting again, the rebuilding yourself, the acceptance of the shame. Because when we lose relationships, there's a lot of shame involved.
And I'm just going to jump in. Sasha, thank you. You mentioned about journaling. That is a tool. I'm not sure what's there, if we lost Scotty. That is a great tool to help write down those emotions. I do anger management sessions as well. And I recommend journaling basically to everyone to write down those emotions, get them out and out of the body and onto the paper.
So sorry about that. That happens, doesn't it? Sometimes technology gets in the way and decides to play up. So let's play this. Time for a natural break anyway.
You must have been a blessing, an amazing revelation sent down to me. Could you be an apparition, figment of my imagination, or just a dream so unreal? You're like a breath of fresh air in the sterile atmosphere, a visual feast, good enough to eat. Boy, you got me salivating, and my pupils dilating at the sight of you. Can't take my eyes off of you. You're all that, and then some, plus a bag of chips. You bring me joy, happiness, I'm in a state of bliss. I rate your style, think you're fine, you knock me out for 6. Won't you be mine in my life, 'cause you're the perfect fit. Please give me a moment to regain my composure, catch my breath, adjust my breaths. I don't need to be so forward, but I'm really checking for ya. From your head to your toes, testament of a homo sapiens. I need to know, you available? Are you free at home? To have a good head on your shoulder, and I really dig your aura. You're everything I've been searching for. You're all that, and then some, plus a bag of chips. You bring me joy, happiness, I'm in a state of bliss. I rate your style, think you're fine, you knock me out for 6. Won't you be mine in my life, 'cause you're the perfect fit. You got my tummy, doing cartwheels. Body feels like it's defying gravity. 'Cause I'm buzzing with excitement. Sight of you lifts the weight up from my face. My heart is racing, I'm racing, palpitating. Fill my head with shoots of happiness. I'm flying high.
And thanks all for listening in. We've got lots of people tuning in, haven't we? We're just going to play some music for a hot minute whilst we figure out what's happening with our guests. But stay tuned and thank you for the comments. I'm going to read some of these comments out during the courses of the next song. But you are with the House Party Queen and Scott the Therapist and Kerrin St.Omer. So Mikasa Esukasa, I didn't pronounce that properly, did I? Says, afternoon family, I've been listening from the start. Great topic discussed in an informative way. Needs to be heard. Keep up this necessary work. Thank you, thank you. And I see we have Kay back. We'll bring him on shortly. Yes, Royal Shorty. I think technology's been killing us today. Everybody it's been affecting. Just reboot and start again. That's what I say. So Carnegie C says support is needed 100% in a calm and sensitive way in our environment. That's the sign of the times, right? We need to deal with things calmly, not shouting, not screaming. That doesn't get us anywhere, does it? Testament to that. So whilst I believe we've got Kay back, we might not have Scott. So let's just see what we can do. Let's bring Kay on and close this one because I want to play this track afterwards.
Okay.
How are you, Kay? Have we got
I'm
you
good.
back?
Yeah, as you said, technology. It's okay. We take a breath and we reset.
That's what we need to do, right? Just take a breath, reset, reboot, do what we got to do and come back again. Well, we're waiting to get Scott back on whilst he reboots and sorts himself out. We can carry on the conversation, definitely.
Yeah.
And of course, we've been reading out what the messages have been in the mixed cloud. As you can see, they're pretty much engaged in the show. Yeah. We've got some real feelings of people that have gone through depression themselves or do have a friend going through depression. So it is a real subject out there that we just don't tackle enough or we just don't see, and the signs are not real. And just before you carry on, there was an advert that I watched a few months ago, and it was about two friends that were at a football match. And two of them, one was always cheering. Have you watched it? One was always cheering and happy, and the other one always sat down really sad. And during the programme, you'd suspect that something was wrong with the friend that was sad. And then the next minute, it moved to the scene where the friend that was always happy and jumping up and down wasn't there, and the friend was laying down a scarf. And he, in fact, the one that was happy, was the one that was suffering through depression. So it's masked in so many ways, and we just have to try and see the signs and spot them.
Yeah. That's the thing. It doesn't always look the same. For some, initially people would think in bed, not showering, not getting up, isolating, but it can also be covered up. I've worked extensively with suicide, and it's a sad topic, but as I said, when people are depressed, so for some people that's the next step, that's the only way out. And like functioning addicts as well, they appear well, fine, coping, but what's going on the inside and what's happening behind closed doors is a completely different thing. And so check in on your people. That's something that I watched that video this week actually, and the you know, it said at the end, check in with your people, making sure they're okay. You think people are doing well because maybe they're putting up photos on the gram, or they're, you know, smiling, but smiling as well, I'm going to say, is a big coping mechanism. I cannot tell you how many people I've had sit in front of me talking about trauma, all these things happening really terrible, and they're smiling. They're smiling about it, and they're seeming like they will just put this happy face on because they're used to doing it. And it's such a cover up, but I can see through it. And again, when you're connected to energy as well, it's a big one. You can feel, even though what's going on in their face is one thing, but when you really connect to yourself and you're able to kind of connect to other people in that really energetic way, you can tell something else is going on a deeper level.
And it's so interesting that you said that you specialize or you have worked in suicide.
Yes, very extensively.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note, because we spoke about this on the show before, Scott, about the rates for male suicides is particularly high, including black male suicide. And do you deal with that a lot in your profession as well, dealing with black males that have taken their lives due to depression?
Is that for me or Kerrin?
For either or.
Kerrin,
I
think
actually, because she
spoke
about this.
Okay, so when I worked with, it was in the community, so it was very varied. Okay. It was mainly teenagers and youth. That I was the demographic I was working with when I worked with suicide.
Okay. And then just very quickly in the Mixcloud, Adelaide Mackenzie has put, please, we need to talk. I mean, all those times I thought my mum was horrid. She was likely stressed. God knows how depression can get us in all different ways. Remember, the guest also sighed, many people are not diagnosed either. I don't know what she put there, which I agree with, especially in my type of work and even in personality disorder. Have you heard of that one? I'll have to re-decipher your message there, Adelaide Mackenzie. I'm so sorry. I think it was just personality disorder she was talking about.
I can jump in there and tie it in actually with something. Sasha made a comment speaking about it binge eating. When we crashed, I think the comment disappeared, but it said, is binge eating something about a sign of depression or connected to depression? I think so, something like that. Is it? Yeah, no, I can't get back to that comment. But when you binge eat, okay, I'm not going to go too deep into the system due to time, but what happens is, again, the mind wants to protect the self from anything that's going to potentially overwhelm the self, right? So what the mind does is creates parts, or i.e. personalities, that play a part in our lives to distract and avoid us from feeling. So yes, binge eating, emotional eating, some people call it, actually slightly two different things, but it can be a symptom of depression. Yes, in answer to the question. And when that comment that you just read out, we develop personalities to survive these identities, these faces, these masks, to survive. Because really authentically who we are on the inside, if we're going to really honor ourselves and connect to that to walk through life, we've got to get through all of these identities, these fake identities, these parts of our personalities that we've developed because of trauma, and to survive. And that's what happens. So sometimes people can be depressed, not know how to be in it and own it and accept it. So instead, there's a part of her mind that says, okay, maybe I just need to be bitchy, so that maybe I sabotage and maybe people will leave me alone. And then I don't have to connect to what's really going on a deeper level. So that can, I think, tie into a little bit of some of the comments that you...
And maybe you don't know who you really are. You know, as you said, you know, I think I wrote down a comment here. Sorry, I always scribble these things down in case I forget. And I think you said, who's ready to admit who they really are? Because that's what therapy is, right? You've got to get deep down in the bones of it and turn around and say, this is me, or this is how I'm reacting. And not a lot of people are actually ready for that or admitting to that. And therefore, some of this cycle of depression can come from that. You know, where am I in life? Am I supposed to be where I said I was going to be? I'm telling people this, but I'm not really this. You know, we've all been through it. I call it imposter syndrome in my circumstances, and I've been through it 10 times over. I talk about imposter syndrome a lot. I suffer from it big time. You know, is this really me? Am I really achieving this, and so forth? And it plays a big part in all of this. Sorry, Scott.
That's a big one. It's a big one. Like that imposter syndrome is what we call, we're speaking from an internal family system perspective. Imposter syndrome is a way that our mind manages us. You know, if I can fake it to make it, no one's going to really need to see what's going on the inside. Again, this is why therapy is so important, to sit and dissect all these parts of who you are so that you can walk forward in your authenticity.
So much, though, to look into.
That's
so many
really
facets and models. Sorry, Scott.
I think before, when we were speaking, Alison, we was talking about, like, we're like diamonds. And a diamond has many facets. It has many faces. And if we think of ourselves as we've got many faces or many facets to who we are. And what Kerrin was talking about was defense mechanisms. People adopt defense mechanisms to cope with unwanted feelings. So laughter. Many a time in a therapy room, clients will be saying some horrendous stuff, and they're laughing, and that's their defense mechanism to hide that pain. People have different defense mechanisms. So you talked about acceptance. If you go out on a Saturday night to some of the nightclubs, there's lots of depressed people in there, but a defense mechanism is to go out and to not actually deal with it, to kind of dance it away, drink it away, and so forth. So all of these defense mechanisms that we devise are a way for our mind to stop unwanted feelings coming in. Because if those feelings come in, we have to sit with them. And one of the most difficult things to do is sit with some of the internal pain that you have, to feel it in its entirety, to embrace it, to understand it. So anger is one of those things that helps us to almost not be in that place of vulnerability and feelings. And as Touch T said, when you get to an acceptance, it's almost being vulnerable and allowing yourself. And one of the things I say to people all the time is, sometimes we're very compassionate. We show others a lot of compassion. And I say to people, have some compassion for yourself. And that compassion looks like being still with yourself, being kind to yourself, understanding yourself. And yes, you can do this in the therapeutic room, but you can also do it with practice for yourself. So you talked about mindfulness, Alison, and mediation and meditation, and just being comfortable with yourself. And why do relationships break down? 9 out of 10 times, people are not their true selves because they don't know themselves. So when you've kind of done this work and you know yourself, when you enter into a relationship, you can be your authentic, genuine self because you know. And real intimacy isn't about a physical act. Real intimacy is actually, I can take off my clothes and I can give you my heart and I can tell you this is who I am. But to understand who you are, you have to spend some time alone. So we talked a little bit about anger, and I don't even know what the time is. Apologies to everyone on the online world. We had some technical problem, and we're trying to kind of get through the subject in a way where it's showing humility, it's showing understanding, it's showing compassion, and it's showing a real sensitive attunement to what people might be picking up. So
sorry, go ahead, Scotty.
Let's think about, we talked a little bit about acceptance. What does acceptance look like? What does it feel like? Hey, like
I know
when
you
you've
guys
accepted.
want to move on to another subject, but I don't know if it's apt to read out some of these Mixcloud chats because they are coming through. And I'm so sorry to keep breaking you guys, but some of it is so interesting. I just think I just want to read some of it out. So my apologies. I know we want to move on to the next subject, but this is how this works sometimes. They get very, very involved. Now, Adelaide says, she was saying this to Touch Tea. I've got a suitcase in my store cupboard full of journals. I'm not sure what I want others to read either, but it does help me reflect and remember lessons learnt because my memory is impacted. I think Touch Tea had written, someone mentioned writing somewhere in my home an A4 book full to the brim of emotional state of mind. Wow. To be honest, I don't want to find it and read it, but I can say it was released. I can say it released things probably when writing it, which aided healing. Maybe it could be a bestseller. And then Royal SMS Shorty says, I feel I'm semi-depressed, but due to working within mental health, I recognise some of my semi-depression is environmental and is about my survival, so trying not to dip any further. And Touch Tea's just responding to Adelaide saying, I hear you, I think my writing was out of anger. I'm no longer angry and afraid to revisit my words. Lady B says also societal taboos may cause one to be in denial about depression and to put on a fake persona. And I'm now at a stage where I do want to know who I am and my real purpose on my journey. That was from Royal SMS Shorty. And lastly, Verona Green says, I agree with Scott. And Lady B says, vulnerability is the beginning of healing. So we had lots and lots of comments in there. I can read out any one again if you guys want to comment upon any of them.
We're actually we're going to talk a little bit about the barriers to recovery and the barriers to moving through the stages. So actually, that denial of what's happening and the social pressures and things that get in the way. So we're actually going to be touching upon that. Thank you. And with the journaling, 100, I recommend that to everyone. Get it out. And you don't have to. I say to people that you don't have to show anyone, and you don't even have to reread it if you don't want to. You can burn it, in fact. Because the point is to get it out of your body. Our body holds onto the emotion. So if you can get it out, that's the purpose, and feel some relief, because we can get full. And if we're not releasing in a healthy way, that can lead us to exhaustion, physical exhaustion, mental, emotional exhaustion. So journaling is wonderful. And absolutely a bestseller. Put it out there.
Put it out there. I've got a client now. And his book came out last week, and it was about his journey in terms of some of the experiences that he had, and he journaled and he turned it into a book. And I say this to everybody, all of us have a book in us, everybody. It's about being courageous to write that book. And I believe that every person on this earth, their experiences, their life, is a book, and your journal could be somebody else's roadmap to recovery. So I think for everyone who's listening and those people that are journaling, it's a powerful tool. I use it as well in my personal life, and I advise my clients to use it. And sometimes I gift them an A4 book and say, actually, here's the book as part of your kind of healing, and just write down what you're feeling. And as Kerrin said, it's if we don't release that pain, if we don't release that anger, it then consumes us. And then what happens is we remain stuck. So then we can't go through this cycle of becoming better, this cycle of getting into recovery. And it doesn't mean that when you recover, you are healed, because it's a continuous process. It's a process where you have to maintain it. So if there's anyone that works in the drug field, they'll be aware of the cycle of change model, where you're in pre-contemplation, then you contemplate, then you move to kind of action, and then you move to maintenance, then you move to like failure, and then back to pre-contemplation. So it's a cycle that you go through. And what does recovery look like? I'm not aware of the time. We've got 5 minutes before we go for the break.
I am aware, so I wanted to quickly say something about acceptance before we jump and talk about recovery, and because I know we've got a lot to do. But before that, one of the comments you read out was the lady who's working in mental health. As mental health practitioners and people who work in the helping profession, we must have our own help and support. We must have our own counseling, our own therapy, our own supports. I do energy healing. I go to my energy healer every so often. see my therapist every so often. It's important that we do that. So please do make sure you have your own support as in someone who works in the mental health professional, as someone who works in the field as well. But acceptance, and again, tying it into what you said, and I know we're coming to the top of the hour. It's important that we can sit in front and look ourselves at the mirror naked, to sit in that place where we fully accept ourselves. If we are only connecting to the version that we put out, how can we what are we accepting? So in order to get to that place of acceptance, it's important to be able to sit back and look at ourselves, strip down, and give ourselves that time to really connect and accept, so that when we're moving into recovery, we are our authentic self. We're not, for example, if we don't connect to our authentic self, we're connecting to maybe a version of ourselves, maybe a version of ourselves who's really resilient and strong. That's great in itself and has helped people along the way. But if you have that mask on and you move into recovery, you're going to get in your own way, because it's going to get in the way of you being fully vulnerable. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah. So the acceptance.
There's lots of food. There's lots of food for thought from the discussion. I think there's lots of food for thought for the audience outside, because it's probably triggering lots of thinking. And I think when we're doing these conversations, when we're having this thinking time together, it is to get people to think about themselves, to think about their journeys, to think about their lives. And me and Kerrin, we work in this profession, we do this, but we're not experts. But the one thing that I kind of evoke people to do is get to understand yourself a bit better. And like, that takes a bit of vulnerability. It's scary, it's uncomfortable, but the rewards at the end of it are so beautiful, because you'll be in touch with yourself and you'll develop a higher level of resilience. So I don't know if you want to go into the break now, or if you want to do it on the top of the hour.
Before we touch on any other subjects, we're going to go for an ad break. I'll play a track, and then we'll read out some more of these comments from the Mixcloud chat room. It will give us some time to refresh, get a cup of tea, and so forth. I know I need to refresh. So guys, go and have a refresh. I'll see you on the other side shortly. And thank you so much. Here's the ad breaks, everyone.
We worldwide, baby. With DJs from London, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Nottingham, Northampton, Wales, Essex, Bournemouth, Leeds, Manchester, and the USA. We are GY Radio.
There ain't no other station like this.
Your holidays. Get your weekenders. Get your tickets.co.uk.
Dan Raj and DEM present the blockbuster party of all parties, Them Nights. Red and Black, Saturday 24th of February at KLM Bruce Grove N17 6UR from 9 till 8. Classy and sexy, dress essential, and top shelf drinks and food are on sale. Music by Special Touch, Federal Touch, Swaby Irie, PC Mystery, Desi G, Chairman of the Board, and Just Jazz, aka Jazzy D. Sounds by Quality Assured, hosted by Dan Raj and Co. Early bird tickets £20 and selling fast online from Eventbrite, Tubes, Get Your Tickets and Access UK, or from DJs and usual outlets. You know it's more on the door. Tickets and info 07910 224 847. Drink and ticket deals available. An Aquarian and Piscean group celebrations are welcome. Them Nights, Red and Black, Saturday 24th of February. Another Dan Raj and DEM blockbuster.
It's time for the therapy spot, and it's back on Sunday, the 25th of February from 12 until 3 p.m. with your hosts, the House Party Queen and Scott the Therapist, and a very special guest host this month, Kerrin St.Omer, a certified mind and body practitioner with their companies www.selfeasesolutions.com. So tune in to the therapy spot on Sunday, the 25th of February from 12 until 3 p.m. Streaming live on Mixcloud, YouTube and Facebook, and on GY Radio. Welcome to the Breakfast Flight Show Comedy Special with your hosts, Sharky DJ and the House Party Queen, with our co-host, the fabulous Rudy Liquid. This month on the Comedy Special, we have Nathan Caton and Peter Francis. So look forward to the Breakfast Flight Show Comedy Special on Tuesday, the 5th of March from 7 till 10 a.m. Streaming live on Mixcloud and on GY Radio.
That's just how we roll.
Levi Washington and DJ Countryman presents the leap year version. Wear a touch of blue. Day rate Sunday 31st of March 2024 at Penny Blacks, 132 to 134 Wharfside Street, Birmingham B1 1RQ. You'll be entertained with music by Miss L Vibes, Natural Mystic, Dial Tone Sound, Levi Washington and DJ Countryman. This is a ticket-only event. Tickets start from £7. Available from Hitchman, Summit Records and getyourtickets.co.uk. The leap year version, Wear a Touch of Blue. Day rave, Sunday 31st of March at Penny Blacks. More info 07597352547.
Are you ready for the ultimate reggae and soul weekend getaway? The Spring Soul Reggae Weekender is coming to the award-winning jacuzzi site, Hemsby Beach Holiday Park, Great Yarmouth, from the 22nd to 25th of March. Over 25 incredible DJs from London, Birmingham, Bedford and Ipswich play the hottest reggae and soul in 3 rooms until 4 a.m, plus live PAs on Saturday. Daytime, there's karaoke, line dancing classes, Zumba fitness and wannabe DJ where you the people get to play, plus a nails, hair and massage centre and 360 camera booth. A 10-minute stroll takes you to the beautiful Hemsby seaside town and its golden beach. Our coaches from across the country make it easier than ever for you to join us for this unforgettable weekend. All-inclusive tickets from just £99. Go to getyourtickets.co.uk or for more info, WhatsApp 078 777 99455. That's
Calling all medical staff to report to the front desk immediately, please. That's all medical staff to the front desk immediately. Thank you.
Zoom Banquet and Suite Roadshow presents their Doctors and Nurses themed party. Saturday 30th of March at the Bocco Bar, Kilburn High Road, NW6, 6HY from 9:30 till late. Two consultants on the night are Swaby Irie, MJR Roadshow, ELC, Mr. Romantic and James Capone. Super early bird tickets at £10. It's £15 after plus booking fee from getyourtickets.co.uk. For coaches from Birmingham and Luton, call 07943 854 001. Don't forget your Doctors and Nurses outfits for Saturday 30th of March at the Bocco Bar. Sponsored by Carry On Comedy's Iron Apple 2024, the party holiday of a lifetime.
James Shoe Care is your multi-service store in Barkingside, and Martin Winter has now been trading there for 13 years. Repairing your shoes, cutting your keys, engraving and supplying your sports trophies, stocks, leather and travel goods, repairing your watches and giving you the best service ever. He opens from 9 to 5:30 Monday to Saturday. So pop in. James Shoe Care, 97 High Street, Barkingside, Essex, IG6 2AH. Visit jscbarkingside.co.uk. Call 07985 118 123. James Shoe Care, Barkingside. We're not just a load of cobblers.
Here's GY Radio, the little station with big intentions.
You better know that.
So we are back. I'm going to bring them back on screen shortly. Now, I was meant to play this track just before we went into a break. This is no coincidence about this.
I just wanna stay by your side. That way I know that I'll be okay. The thought of you out of my life turns me wild, promise me that you'll stay.
And for those of you that don't know, this has actually touched his son. This is Kadeem Tyrell. This was on my playlist, Touch T. No coincidence. It was a coincidence, sorry. And it's in my playlist just because I love this song.
Can I be the one
fullness of time, I'd love to play that whole track, that entire track. Now, you know, Touch was in the chat. Touch T was talking about his journal. That's his son, Kadeem Tyrell. You know, I didn't know Touch was going to be in there today, and that was actually in my playlist. Beautiful voice, chocolate voice. I've interviewed him before. Absolutely lovely. Anyway, guys, sorry.
Before we go any further, can I just say to everyone out there, big shout out to House Party Queen and Sharky DJ for their technical knowledge and their support, and for the House Party Queen for her music selection. From I've met this lady, she has always enthralled me with her music selection, and I just wanted to send a big shout out for making this possible for me and Kerrin to be able to kind of just share on our thinking with the audience out there. So House Party Queen, Sharky, I give you that and a thumbs up.
Do you know what? The pleasure's all mine, really. It's nice to share the platform with experts. I merely have my only experience and friends to be able to impart some of my knowledge. You guys are the experts, you know, and you're bringing a wealth of information and support and help to people out there. You can tell, you know, I know, Kerrin, you're smiling, but if you see what I'm reading in the Mixcloud chat room, you can see that everybody is benefiting from you guys here today. So thank you guys. And, you know, I'm conscious that we've got like half an hour left to get the rest of this in. So I'm going to let you guys continue the talking and just close up for a second.
I'm going to bounce to Kerrin. So Kerrin, we talked a little bit about acceptance and what that looks like and what that feels like. And I know we got to talk about recovery, because we're talking about the dumpy now. We haven't even got onto the dumper in terms of the different emotions. So let's think a little bit about recovery. What does recovery look like for people when they've gone through this situation, they've gone through the depression, they've gone through the anger, there's a sense of acceptance, they're now in recovery. What does recovery look like? I can talk about recovery from my perspective, but
so I put a couple of notes in, so maybe that can go on screen. And I'm also eager to talk about the dumper as well, and to kind of cater to that side of the equation. So healing, feel everything. Feel everything, because whatever you don't feel sits in your body, and then you move on to the next relationship, and guess what happens? What you push down comes up, and then not in the nicest way, right? So feel everything, commit to healing, accept that as well. The healing's not linear. One day, again, you could be feeling, I'm good, I'm great. And then the next day you're angry. Maybe you were reminded of something, a song came on, or something, you're reminded in some way, you saw a photo, anything. And then you got triggered, and now you're angry again. Or maybe you go back to denial and you try to talk yourself into maybe it not being real, and trying again and all of that. So the bottom line is it's not linear. So accepting that you're going to be going back and forth. Time, I say, does not heal you. Time does not heal you. People say, "Oh, give it time." How long? How long? There's no answer to that. You heal you. Once you step in and say, "Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to take the steps, no matter how long it takes." That's when you are walking in healing. If you sit there and wait for time, I'm afraid I got to, I'll tell you, you're going to be sitting there for a while. Waiting for something that's not going to happen until you decide to. So deciding to heal, accepting it's not linear, feeling everything, and most of all, focusing on self-love during the whole process. Self-love, self-care, and I'm going to say forgiveness. Ooh, that's another big topic, but that also will help you to release and move forward. And that isn't always easy. And again, another big topic, but that's what I would say in a nutshell: recovery, and get help and support to do that.
And recovery also looks like, I was on a different platform this week, and I interviewed this gentleman, really eloquent gentleman, 61, and he came and he presented about his journey through mental health, and part of his recovery was his physical well-being. So this man now runs ultra marathons. That means he does 2 marathons in a day. And he also talked about his relationship with God and the importance of spirituality in his life. And recovery looks like different things for different people. And when you're in that recovery place, it's a maintenance, because as Kerrin said, you might fall back one day, you might hear the song that they played at your wedding, you might go to a venue that something might trigger you, and you might start this whole process again where you might be in denial of that, or you might be in the state of depression. It could be for a day, or you could be angry, and then you move back into that recovery kind of mindset. So I think we kind of explored what the dumpy feels. So we talked about reflect, denial, depression, anger, acceptance, and recovery. Let's think about the person who does the dumping, because there was a word that we used earlier when we was having some discussions about the show. And 2023, I posted this on my social media platforms. Look, this year, 2023, I think the word narcissism and narcissist became like a buzzword because lots of people were using it. And we're not going to go into it. 2024, the buzzword needs to be accountability. So sometimes when we label narcissistic behavior, sometimes we have to take accountability. So let's think about the dumper. It doesn't mean that they're a narcissist per se. So we're not going to talk about narcissism because that's a chunk. That's a big chunk of conversation. So Kerrin, let's talk about the dumper. Let's talk about the stages that they go through. Tell me the stages that they go through.
All right. So there's relief, elation, memories, neutrality, and sadness. And again, that can be cycled through. There's no, I wish I could show people the graphic, but on the graphic, there's these arrows just leading from one stage to another. There's no beginning and there's no end, right? So we can cycle through this, as someone who has to let go of someone else or break up with another person. Dumper, is a bit of a harsh word.
So
but
say the 5 stages again slowly.
All right, relief.
There
should be on the
to
screen.
Look for the diagram, so I'll try and look for it in the background to put up whilst you guys are talking. Sorry.
So relief, elation, memories, neutrality, and sadness. So do you want to speak? I could start with relief. Anyone who has been in a long-term relationship, and I speak to myself for this as well, that has had to let go or dump out someone else, goes through that nervousness and that anxiety. You're going to do it. It's just when. And there's a stage, there's anxiety, nervousness, because you're about to do something that in your heart, even though it's, regardless of how the relationship has been, it's not going to be easy and there's going to be pain. But afterwards, the minute after, the seconds afterwards, there's relief because it's out. It's out. Finally, you've managed. It's what you've been holding inside. You've let it out. You've released it. So there's that feeling of just feeling lighter in that moment, right? That's the relief stage.
Yeah. Elation, I think it speaks for itself, doesn't it? You feel elated. You feel overjoyed.
Well,
you feel a new sense of self.
Especially if it's been a difficult relationship. So you were speaking earlier, Scotty, about mutual disengagements, like I'm going to say conscious uncoupling, I like to call it. There's actually a book called Conscious Uncoupling. Most people, it doesn't work that way. There's one usually in that decides this is happening and too bad, too sad, right? So that elation is finally, maybe it was abusive and or destructive, and maybe you're finally out of it. So that elation is that feeling of a couple of things. I'm happy I'm out of it. I don't have to go through all of that, and also happy about the future. And we speak about losses, but then there's gains on this end. There's a gain. The gain is my freedom. The gain is my happiness. The gain is my safety. The gain is now me being able to project and really feel the potential of a really exciting, happy future versus maybe what it was on the road to be.
And that elation.
I would think about that, the elation.
It's a feeling of a new beginning. It's a feeling of connecting with yourself. It's a feeling, and in that elation, I think it intertwined with memories. because that elation can sometimes be triggered by thinking about the memories of the abuse. And when we think about abuse, most people, when we say abuse, think about physical abuse. But there's so many aspects of abuse. There's financial abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's isolation abuse, where you isolate someone from a support network. So abuse can cover lots of different spectrums. It's not just about physical violence, it's a number of psychological abuses. But that elation is a feeling of being able to be connected to yourself again. It's almost giving you joy to think about the things. Who was I before the relationship? What did I enjoy? And it's almost reconnecting with that. And if I think about memories, what you want to say, Kay?
And also the excitement of finding out who I am outside of this relationship, that can be exciting too.
And memories, I think memories are, so many memories are triggered in so many different ways, and it can trigger so much different emotions. So memories could be of the good times that you've had, it could be of the bad times, it could be of people that you shared spaces with. And sometimes the memories come flooding back, and you might feel a sense of elation, or you might feel a sense of sadness. So I think it's all intertwined. It doesn't, right, you just have memories, then you move to neutrality, then sadness. I think it's all intertwined. I think it interplays with each other. And what do you think about memories, Kay?
So very quickly, guys,
go
just
ahead.
in the chat room, Adelaide had put, and regarding forgiving, you can start forgiving yourself for choosing what you choose, or what or who you choose at this time. And Royal SMS Shorty agrees with that. But Lady B also says, I certainly felt the anxiety of letting go in a relationship, feeling like I would be hurting my ex, but I did feel immense relief after I did it, and freedom to heal.
Thank
And
you.
in relation to that, there's a great film actually, and you're going through the 5 stages of the dumper, which didn't really think about in terms of what they go through versus the dumpee. And there's a great film called The Marriage Story with Scarlett Johansson. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's a beautiful story about 2 people that are married, and in the beginning it shows them the epitome of happiness. They're together, they're doing everything together, they're laughing at each other's jokes, it doesn't matter what they look like. And then it starts to show the cracks in the marriage and what actually happens as it starts actually breaking down. That being Scarlett Johansson was the dumper in the marriage, and the stages that they went through. And just looking what you've written up there, it kind of like closely follows exactly what you've written up there in terms of what they went through in the marriage and it breaking down and finding out who they were afterwards.
I'm curious of some of these comments, because I know everyone, listening has also had experience of being dumped or having to dump on either side. So it's interesting. Memories. Well, you're bound to have memories. You were with this person for, years or months as well. So let's not discount the shorter relationships, because it can be hot and heavy in a few months, and in a few years, you can have a relationship with someone for years and years and feel like, I don't even know this person, or how much have we really done, right? So let's not discount the short and the long-term ones. There is still the stages of grief, regardless of how quick it takes to go through or how long. It still happens for everyone in these categories. So yeah, memories. I'm gonna echo what Scotty said. It ties into the neutrality and the sadness. The memory, you have these memories, and it could create an instant sadness within you, because there's all emotions are tied to memories. So it's a stage and I would say, as a dumper, we connect, and I'm going to speak to myself as well, and from my experience working with couples, we connect as a dumper. The dumper connects to the memories before dumping as well, trying to connect and feel, and before they make a decision. Either way, because it could be a negative memory. It could be a memory that creates a negative emotion that actually spurs the person to move towards letting go of that relationship. Right? Or again, it could be a highlight that triggers a happy memory. And then there's the instant sadness because you still know, well, I still got to do what I got to do. So that's where the intertwining comes in, as Scotty was saying, with the
Yeah.
stages.
You know, I'm thinking about sadness, and is sadness. You know, sometimes when they have an ex-partner and then they engage in intimacy again, or they embark on some type of fling or something, is that a way of coping with the sadness? Is almost trying to, I want to reconnect, but actually realizing actually I'm not in my state of sadness. I felt I wanted to reconnect with this person, but actually that's not what it is. It's something else.
Oh, are you speaking about reconnecting in a sexual way
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
ex?
yeah.
Remember, there's losses both sides too. Sometimes we don't think as the dumper there's a loss. Well, yeah, of course there is. Some of the same losses that the dumpee experiences, the dumper also experiences those, regardless if they made the choice. And as you said, Alison, it's good to recognize that the dumper also has feelings too, that they also go through the losses as well. And that loss of companionship, familiarity, that familiar body, that familiar sexual energy, right? Chemistry. So it's easy. And that may not have been the reason why you broke up.
And you know
So
what's
that
interesting
happens
about
often.
this? You
But
know what's
also, as she
interesting
said,
about this?
it's linear, and you don't go through all the stages one by one. And I feel like that kind of sexual gratification comes. I could be wrong here. I'm so sorry. Could come into memories, right? You want to kind of remember what it was like, what it felt like in there. Yet you could be at the sadness stage. So you're right. It's all very, very intertwining.
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott.
Yeah.
No, I just think it's interesting, the stages of the dumper and the stages of the dumpy, because now my curiosity is kind of making me think, does the dumper or does the dumpy move into any of these stages, like where they actually reflect, or is that part of their recovery process where they now feel, Ross, this is a relief, I'm out of that, and they feel joy and elation, and they
Maybe.
have so could it go both ways? So the dumpy now feels actually the same emotions as the dumper in their recovery journey, because they've probably seen or had some understanding of what a relationship is. It's food for thought.
Yeah. Well, sadness is in there too, right? There's the depression, but there's also the sadness piece. Relief, because maybe they were staying for, I want to say, the wrong reason. So again, there could be that relief in there as well. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to speak
Yeah,
for
it's
everyone with elation, but memories, absolutely. Like, of course, it could be like, I'm so I'm so glad actually that they dumped me, because then I don't have to be the bad guy, right? I have to be the bad guy. I was the one who's dumped, so I'm going to get all the sympathy, potentially. So there could definitely be the relief or elation. Yeah, now I'm
yeah,
free.
yeah,
I'm
the
free, and I
crossover.
can walk off with the clear, more of a clear conscience now, and do my thing over here. So, yeah, I do feel that the dumpy can experience some of these. Absolutely.
Is
There
it
was a
healthy to
question
remain
that's come
single?
up that I've put on the screen there.
Is it
If you guys
healthy
want
to
to answer.
remain
Is it healthy
single?
to... Sorry, Scott, go ahead.
Is it healthy to remain single, fear of getting into a relationship and it's not working out? Is that a question? I think the first part, is it healthy to remain single? And the second part is fear of getting into a relationship and it's not working out.
I think she's saying, is it actually healthy to remain single in fear of getting into a relationship and it's not working out? So yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say no. Any fear isn't. It's not healthy to sit. I'm gonna say and dwell in any fear, or allow that to pause you in your tracks from making steps forward. Important to acknowledge it, but it's not healthy to stay single for that reason. I'm gonna say. What I will say is healthy to heal.
Yeah.
It's healthy to heal. I actually have, I'm just going to put a quick plug. I actually have a worksheet that is called Preparing to Date. And I'm actually, it's not time to plug, but here we go. I'm doing a singles workshop, which is a 12-week program for people who are single, and we go through a lot of what we've been speaking about today. And at the end, we talk about preparing to date and the readiness to date. So if anyone's interested, please connect with me. But again, it's healthy to heal and do that check-in. Am I ready? Right? And you can go back and forth in your own head, or you can actually do the work. I'm going to say properly, and do some exercises, or again get some therapy and sit down and talk to someone to really assess, because your mind can get in the way and either create fear or a readiness that and you're not actually ready in your body and in your spirit. So
I
yeah,
think what
that's
you
my take.
said, Kerrin, about plugging and so forth, and I think at the beginning of the conversation, we should have given the trigger warning that actually this stuff here might make people or raise their consciousness or trigger some thoughts or trigger some feelings. And if people do feel that actually I'd like to have a discussion, I'd like 5-10 minutes to so forth, you can get in contact with Kerrin, you can get in contact with me. One of the things that we was exploring before we talked about the show was offering someone like a 30-minute consultation if something in the show made them feel triggered or they wanted to explore it a bit more. So I'm gonna put my webpage. I don't know how to. I'm not good at IT, guys. I'm gonna figure out a way out to. Or maybe I'll give it to Alison and she do it. And Kerrin, your details are in there.
Send it to me.
And there is a wide organisations of support networks out there. So you got BATAM, which is the Black and Asian Therapy Network. You got the BACP, which is the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy. You've got Psychology Today. So if anyone feels, sorry, that they want to have some type of conversation or this has triggered some thoughts in them, there's lots of support out there. And I know, Alison, you said, is it past? We got to think about winding up and
Oh no, we've got another 15 minutes. We've got some good time.
Okay. So yeah, I think today it's been really interesting for me. So even as a therapist, and this is what we talk about, continual professional development. So as therapists, sometimes we learn off each other. So something that I learned about when we was discussing the show was the different types of ways our relationships, and you have the dumper and the dumpy and the emotions that go through them. And that was really helpful for me on a professional level to help clients or to help some of the young people that I work with, and how all of these things are intertwined. And most of the time it's about understanding ourselves and our emotions and what we're feeling, and that recovery that we spoke about. We've gone through traumas, we've gone through losses, we've gone through bereavements, we've gone through ending of relationships, and that self-work is really important in terms of just trying to understand the different facets of who you are as a person. So I think today has been really kind of helpful for me to understand this, and we've touched on so many different subjects today that I think we wouldn't have done it no justice to even try to have entertained it. But there is lots of things that I think as a community we need to start having conversations about in a humble, respectful, courteous, sensitively attuned way. And I think that what we've done here today is we've just helped people to just think a little bit. And I say to people, what does therapy mean for me? Therapy means for me pausing. We get so consumed with life, the job, the money, the social status, Instagram, Facebook, the rave. Therapy means slowing down and being compassionate to yourself. So as a therapist, I will say I've learned a lot today, and there's probably still more that Kerrin might want to say about the dumper and the dumpy. And before the show ends, I'm going to talk about how me and Kerrin met around what we call synchronicity in life. And sometimes we have to allow synchronicity to happen in our lives for us to become who we're meant to be. Kerrin, I don't know if you wanted to say anything or...
Yeah, there's a lot to say on this topic. I know there was something that you brought up, Alison.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you want to go back to that so we can honor that?
Yeah, sorry, let me just go back to that. So sometimes the dumper may have experienced the sadness during the relationship, understanding that even the sexual energy we shared did stopped making me stay in the relationship. So she was basically saying she had a lot of sexual energy in that relationship, but obviously, as the dumper is still experiencing sadness, she had to come out of it, or
Yeah.
however you want to translate that.
So when as a dumper, it doesn't mean you get to 100%. Okay, I hate this person. We're done now. It's more of, okay, I'm at 51 now. Remembering that there's a whole host of memories, there's a whole host of reasons why you're still connected, and sex can be one of those. But for the most part, now you've gone to that stage where you're past the 50% mark or somewhere between that and 100. And now it's more about you and what's important for you. So it doesn't, you can have lots of connections still, absolutely, and things that you connected on, which is also why it can be sad, because again, going back to those losses. And at some point, when you look at your life, you're like, well, what do I need holistically, all around? What do I need? Is one section or one area of satisfaction enough for me to walk forward in life with? So, yeah, just kind of in response to that comment.
I've got something else here. I'm just putting it up on the screen, actually. And it comes from Empress Lee. And she's put, I would definitely like to talk to someone regarding ways I can help my friend without it impacting on myself. So, Empress Lee, you've got these two young people on screen now, and they're going to share their details before the end of the show in terms of ways in which you can get in touch. And if they can't help you, I'm sure they will pass you on to people who can. But please, guys, please ensure you share your social media details, or at least send them to me so I can get them up on the screen, just in case we've got any listeners that do want to kind of call in, have some help, have some therapy. Kerrin, you spoke about couples therapy as well. Scott, yourself as a therapist. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I'm just looking for the link for my website.
While we are doing that, I'm gonna let me speak about neutrality quickly to like wrap up the stages. It's that sense of, okay, if you're in a car, right, and you drive stick. A lot of people are driving automatic, but I grew up on stick. So here we are using this analogy. That neutral place is, okay, what now? You can go in reverse or you can go forward. So it's this sense of, okay, I'm here. I'm just taking this. It's that pause. What now, right? So that's just to explain when we speak about neutrality stage, what it means and what it feels like. It's that, okay, I'm here. Okay, the what now, right? Before you decide on what to do. And sometimes you can backtrack. Again, this is when we go in reverse. This is when we rekindle. This is when we, maybe think about whether we've made the right decision or not. Or we can go forward and say, okay, I've done this now. What next? What do I do for myself? How do I move forward from this space? And that's what when we speak about neutrality, that's what we mean. And also, again, to just quickly go back to a point, Scott, you were saying, does the dumpy experience some of these same stages? Sometimes there's closure required. And when a closure is given to the dumpy, there's some relief. Oh, it wasn't me. Maybe it was just this person who decided they changed and they wanted different things, for example. And that closure in itself can bring some relief. To tie in with another comment someone made earlier about feeling that they're not enough, or any like negative feelings or about themselves or beliefs can come up when you have the closure. A dumpy can absolutely feel some relief from that too, months, years later, which just speaks to these stages of grief and how long they can potentially last. But yeah, that's all the stages. And obviously I know we're winding up now, but there's the healing, and there's maybe we can speak briefly about the barriers to healing if we have a little bit of time quickly.
Yes, we do definitely have some time, and it's so funny that you were going to talk about that, because one of my questions was, how do I mean, I'm sure we touched upon this before, but just how do you get to that stage of seeking help or therapy, because a lot of people are, it's almost like self-destructive behavior. You know you need it, but you don't quite know how to go out and get it, or to get there, or to understand what you're going through, to even navigate those steps of doing that. And it's such a taboo subject, and it's something that we're not willing to spend money on ourselves. We'll spend it on makeup, we'll spend it on Netflix, and we'll spend it on cigarettes or whatever, alcohol, but we're not willing to spend just a smaller fraction of that on ourselves for self-care. As you said, we are very, very important in all of this.
Well, some of the barriers I've written here, I don't know, maybe if you can get that up on the screen.
Sure.
I've put shame, guilt, judgment of the self or judgment from other people, being stuck in a stage. It could be at the very beginning stage. And also I put friends and family. Ooh, the barriers. So, and it could, I don't want to say financial, because there's a lot of help out there that's free. That if we say, okay, instead of scrolling on these videos that I'm, cat and dog videos or whatever, I'm going to focus on connecting to sites and people that are inspirational, that are helpful, and that are supportive. So if money is an obstacle, there are still things that we can do to connect to support and healing, podcasts, audiobooks, free information. So we can do that. Some more barriers are also friends and family. Let's say they hated your person and you broke up, so they're all happy and you're sitting there, you're not even allowing yourself to feel sad, or to kind of tell yourself, I'm not okay because I was the dumper, and plus everyone around me is so happy this person's gone. Some people don't even allow themselves to feel sad, as if there's guilt to feeling sad. So that speaks to some of the guilt, to some of the barriers, to the shame. I've been in this so long, or I've been taking this abuse for so long, and it's so shameful that I don't even want to speak about this situation. Again, that could be a barrier. Judging yourself. Well, I dumped the person, so I'm not even going to give myself that space. We judge ourselves a lot. Sometimes we're our own worst critic. And friends and family. I mentioned the friends and family. So those are some barriers. And also the cultural barriers to getting therapy. It's, I'm going to speak about the Black community, because that's where I'm from and where I know from a personal place, and from a kind of British perspective as well. You see the US and you see shows and they're like, yeah, I have a therapist, like as if they have a toothbrush, right? But in the UK, it wasn't as common, or it was a bit more taboo to say, no, I have therapy, or I'm working on my mental health. You work on your physical health, but you don't want to work on your mental health. That's a part of who you are. So there are, again, some of the belief systems outdated, unhealthy, and some of the things I mentioned here can get in the way of you getting healing and help.
Yeah, but when you think about some of the belief systems, I mean, we speak about, you said at a drop of a hat, people seek therapy in the US, and in the UK it's still quite taboo. Well, when you start going down to the Caribbean, it's almost like unheard of, let alone people spending money on therapy when they're, still some people want to spend it on food or whatever the case may be. So, it's difficult, and I wish that we could remove some of these barriers that we've got, and a lot of that is self-teaching, teaching your children to open up and talk a lot more within the family unit. I think is important. We've kind of stopped doing that with a lot of technology. We've stopped talking to people, hence the reason why we're seeing so much more videos out there saying, call your friend, just check that they're okay. And it is important to check that your friend is okay, because depression and all these signs that people may be going through is not automatically obvious to any.
I think that what we're doing today is part of breaking down the cultural barriers to accessing therapy, because you have myself and Kerrin, we both are Black people, we both have lived experience, we've both trained, we're both humanistic, we're both approachable, and there is no shame around mental well-being. I say this to a lot of the people that I work with. If you are physically sick, you go to the doctor and you say, actually, I've got a pain in my elbow. I've got a pain in my shoulder. If you are unwell upstairs, or you're having negative thoughts, or there's no shame, because the both of them are correlated. Your physical well-being is tied to your mental well-being. Your mental well-being is tied to your physical well-being. And that's that recovery journey goes. The both of them intertwine. So we're the proof in the pudding, as they would say, that not all therapists are the same. Previously, therapy was a middle-aged, white, European kind of pastime activity, but we're getting more and more black therapists into the fold. And what that means is that we're culturally aware, we're sensitively attuned, and there's no shame in doing this type of work. There's no shame in it. And that's what I would say about accessing therapy and what we're highlighting in terms of doing the therapy spot and what we're hoping to achieve. So I think it's a mission accomplished. I think we've reconnected today because we've been off air for a while. Kerrin, my friend, my friend. It's weird. I'm going to share how me and Kerrin met before we leave in terms of how synchronicity works. So Kerrin was on holiday from Canada. It was an event in, I think it was North London. And I parked up my car and I saw one of my friends, and I was walking with my friend, some guy from South. And he saw two of his friends and he was talking to them, and Kerrin was in tow with them. And then we just had a conversation. And Kerrin said, I'm a therapist. And I said, I'm a therapist. And Kerrin was saying, I wanted to connect with a therapist, but I didn't want to put like something on media or so forth. And we just connected as two therapists. And we've stayed connected, helped each other in difficult times through conversations and so forth. And synchronicity is something that's real. Sometimes you will synchronize with people. And I say reason, season, lifetime. Sometimes you sync with people because that's what the alignment is meant to happen. So I'm really grateful for having Kerrin in my life. I'm grateful for a house party queen in terms of how we met in that short, brief conversation and what we've kind of done. And I think if this is meant to happen to support our community, then it's going to happen. We're going to make it happen. And yeah, I'm just really happy that we was able to do this thinking, thoughtful conversation today.
It's been absolutely amazing, guys. Thank you. As you can hear, gosh, I'm having to do so many things in the background here. I'm having to switch my mic off when I'm not talking. But I hope you guys have had fun today. Well, not so much fun. I hope it's been informative for the Mixclouders and also for yourselves to learn about some of our audience out there. They are very interactive, Kerrin, or Kay, I should say. And I'd just like to thank you again for coming on. We couldn't have done this show talking about grief and all of the stages that we've been through, even though there's been so much information, and it's the show is long and it's still hard to get all this information within 3 hours. It's difficult because there's just too much to say, too much knowledge imparted from the both of you, and all I can say is thank you so much. I'm sure the Mixclouders are thanking you. Before we go, I just want to read any comments. Adelaide McKenzie said, sometimes people don't feel they have an issue or that they'll be okay. Plus, yes, all the reasons, plus their pride. KK put, a barrier can be yourself. Soulful Solly Brown said, oh gosh, Mixcloud moving quickly. Good afternoon, all great show. Adelaide said, many Caribbeans suffer from vexation and deflection disease. KK says, the connotation around therapy is a barrier to people. Again, Adelaide says, yeah, we've been taught not to chat our business. Yes, remember that we've been taught that that's a generational thing. We were taught, everybody knows our parents, don't go chat your business out there. No one needs to know what's going on in the house. When that's what we should have been doing, really. We're turning that around. We're turning it around, hopefully, with our young people. Now, Empress Lee says, extremely helpful. Adelaide will listen again. Soulful Solly Brown says, fantastic insight today. Thank you all. Big up Scotty. Paula Paris says, great show, very informative. Martin Winter says, great show, well done. And KK says, thank you to all. So there you go, Kerrin. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. It's been a pleasure having you both. I'm sure we're going to have to repeat this show at some point, right? And have another show with you both still on.
We'll have a discussion. We'll have to think about it because synchronicity works, isn't it? Like you
Definitely. It's one to be discussed. Now, before we go, I've got your social media details up there on screen. And you can get Scott at www.scottthetherapist.com, as it says up there. And Kay is at selfeastsolutions.com. And obviously on Instagram, it's Self-Ease Solutions, right? I think that's your handle there. We can see.
Yeah. I've also got my YouTube channel as well, and I do guided meditation. So there's a lot that I'm going to be putting on there in terms of meditations and other helpful bits and pieces. I also wanted to mention the kind of the couple session that I'm willing to give away. So if someone wants to come and have that initial session with me, just put your name in the hat, so to speak. Let me know, and I'm willing to do that virtually. so I'm here for that. And thank you so much to both of you for having me here today. It's been fun.
Thank you. And in that, what you're giving away there, instead of us saying, let's put names in the hat, what we're going to do is, okay, so we've put Kay's social media details up there. You're going to have to follow Kay on Instagram and say that you've been watching the therapy spot. You'd like the free couples therapy. You'd also have to go on to Scott's, follow his Instagram, and myself, the House Party Queen. Once we've seen you followed all three of us and written a comment, we will pick the name out to receive the therapy going on. So don't forget, social media details are up there. You know mine. You definitely know Scott. Scott's, what's your social media details? Instagram. Do you know?
Scotty Mindfulness. Scott, technology is, you know, technology is not my strong point. I have an Instagram page. It's called Scott. Yeah, Scotty Mindfulness Scott. That's my. I'll
find it whilst I'm wrapping up the end of the show. I'll make sure all your social media details are out there. So don't forget, guys. You've got to make sure that you respond to each of our social media handles and say you'd like some couples therapy, and Kerrin will pick someone's name out there and get in contact with you guys to receive that. Now, any last words from either of you before I go on to play some music and wrap up the show?
Can you do me a memory stick of some music, please?
Of course, madam, of course. It will cost you, though. It will cost you some we'll swap therapy music.
I will again say thank you, and to everyone, it's forgiveness, forgive others, forgive yourself, self-care, support, connection, all of the above, and vulnerability. It's such a strength in that, and let's talk more, let's connect more, and help each other heal. So thanks again for all the listeners as well for tuning in. Thank you for taking the time out.
We appreciate your time. Thank you.
And everyone that made comments and, interacted, it's good. It's good times.
Well, like I said, thank you very much. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to take you both off screen. I'll see you both in the green room after the show. I'm just going to play a few tracks and then run the ads, and I'll see you afterwards. Once again, thank you, Mixclouders. Give a few fire signs or say thank you in the Mixcloud chat to Coach K and also to Scott, the therapist. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you again very soon. See you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so now you've got the House Party Queen on here. God, I've been changing labels, so now my name moniker is gone. It's all gone. It's all go today with the House Party Queen. But you know what? I'm going to play a track. And this is Intimate Connections. I love this version.
Yeah. Yeah. Check it.
So up there, as you can see, don't forget, social media for Scott is www.scottthetherapist.com, and K is Self-Ease Solutions. Don't forget. And don't forget, I've put Kay's YouTube channel in the chat. That's in there already. I'm mindful of videos. Go and have a look. Go visit Kay. So, okay, Scott's Instagram is scotty.mindfulness.scott. So Kenny Pippa says, Kenny P&E, I should say, my eyesight's going. He says, great show. Thank you so much, sir. Sugar Sweet says, thank you, HPQ. What would you do without me? Oh, thank you, Sugar Sweet. And Marley's 4 says, fantastic show. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again soon, hopefully. And Empress Lee says, do it again, do it again. Oh, we may do. We'll see. We'll see what's coming up.
You are on the Break it down for me.
So what a great show. This was a therapy spot with myself, the house party queen, Scott the therapist, and Kerrin St.Omer, known professionally as Coach K. I've been calling her Kerrin all day. I should have been calling her Coach K. Great team, great show. Well, let's hope we can bring them back again on the therapy spot. We always touch upon so many subjects, right? And as we are sounding out with one of my last tracks before the ads, this has been the house party queen on the therapy spot. Good to have you guys on board, honestly.
We live from the head down and not the feet up. And I'm a dome with the pound. Just make this up. And I'm fine, fine, under cloud nine. Yes, I will.
And don't forget, guys, remember everything, all the tips that you've been given today. It's all about loving yourself, right? Accepting, being in the here and now. Can appreciate that's not easy. It's all kind of learnt behaviour, right? But do some meditation. Meditation's great. Self-care, self-healing. Invest in yourself. Nobody else is gonna, right? Only you. And I hope you guys, like I said, have enjoyed this. Remember, self-care. Don't buy that pack of cigarettes. Spend it on some therapy. Yeah? Go swimming. Do some mindfulness.
I be a chameleon and wear it bone straight. But it's so much stronger when it's in its natural state. And I'm fine, fine, under cloud nine. Twist my cloud hand and it rains. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when it rains,
don't know what it is, but after these shows, I always feel a little bit uplifted, a little bit happier. I've learned so much and things that I can take on board to use tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. Don't let anyone stop you. Don't let anyone hold you back. Only you are you, and only you can experience you. Be you, your real, authentic self. Don't be afraid.
We live from the head down and not the feet up. Diamond on with the crown is making this up. And I'm fine, I'm so fine under the cloud nine. Twist my cloudy, it rains. Yes, it does. And when it rains.
So don't forget, I've got all the Instagram and details up there for Scott the Therapist and Kay also at Selfie Solutions on Instagram. Don't forget to win that 3 therapy session for couples. Go onto her Instagram, scotty.mindfulness.scott, and also HPQ on Instagram. So Verona Green says, thanks Scotty and HPQ and Kay for a wonderful afternoon of knowledge. Working on ourselves is so important. It so is. You know, don't stop working on yourself, everyone. It really is important to keep that self-care going and to always also encourage other people to have that self-care. And more importantly, don't forget to look out for your friends. They're just as important. Friends, family, whoever. So I'll leave you with that note. Thank you so much for tuning into the Therapy Spot. We'll be back at some point very soon. Other than that, I'm going to lead you into the ads break now, where it'll be the end of the show. Thank you once again, everybody. See you very, very soon.
We worldwide, baby. With DJs from London, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Nottingham, Northampton, Wales, Essex, Bournemouth, Leeds, Manchester, and the USA. We are GY Radio.
There ain't no other station like this.
Your holidays. Get your weekenders. Get your tickets.co.uk.
Welcome to the Breakfast Flight Show Comedy Special with your host, Sharky DJ, and the House Party Queen, with our co-host, the fabulous Rudy Liquid. This month on the Comedy Special, we have Nathan Caton and Peter Francis. So look forward to the Breakfast Flight Show Comedy Special on Tuesday, the 5th of March from 7 till 10 a.m. Streaming live on Mixcloud and on GY Radio.
That's just how we roll.
Levi Washington and DJ Countryman presents the Leap Year version, where a touch of blue. Day rate, Sunday 31st of March 2024 at Penny Blacks, 132 to 134 Wharfside Street, Birmingham B1 1RQ. You'll be entertained with music by Miss L Vibes, Natural Mystic, Dial Tone Sound, Levi Washington and DJ Countryman. This is a ticket-only event. Tickets start from £7, available from Hitchman, Summit Records and getyourtickets.co.uk. The Leap Year version, Wear a Touch of Blue. Day Rave, Sunday 31st of March at Penny Blacks. More info 07597352547.
Are you ready for the ultimate reggae and soul weekend getaway? The Spring Soul Reggae Weekender is coming to the award-winning jacuzzi site, Hemsby Beach Holiday Park, Great Yarmouth, from the 22nd to 25th of March. Over 25 incredible DJs from London, Birmingham, Bedford and Ipswich play the hottest reggae and soul in 3 rooms until 4 a.m, plus live PAs on Saturday. Daytime, there's karaoke, line dancing classes, Zumba fitness, and wannabe DJ where you the people get to play, plus a nails, hair and massage centre and 360 camera booth. A 10-minute stroll takes you to the beautiful Hemsby seaside town and its golden beach. Our coaches from across the country make it easier than ever for you to join us for this unforgettable weekend. All-inclusive tickets from just £99. Go to getyourtickets.co.uk. Or for more info, WhatsApp 078 777 99455. That's it.
Calling all medical staff to report to the front desk immediately, please. That's all medical staff to the front desk immediately. Thank you.
Zoom Banquet and Suite Roadshow presents their Doctors and Nurses themed party. Saturday 30th of March at the Bocco Bar, Kilburn High Road, NW6, 6HY from 9:30 till late. Two consultants on the night are Swaby Irie, MJR Roadshow, ELC, Mr. Romantic and James Capone. Super early bird tickets at £10. It's £15 after plus booking fee from getyourtickets.co.uk. For coaches from Birmingham and Luton, call 07943 854 001. Don't forget your Doctors and Nurses outfits for Saturday 30th of March at the Bocco Bar. Sponsored by Carry On Comedy's Iron Apple 2024, the party holiday of a lifetime.
James Shoe Care is your multi-service store in Barkingside, and Martin Winter has now been trading there for 13 years. Repairing your shoes, cutting your keys, engraving and supplying your sports trophies, stocks, leather and travel goods, repairing your watches and giving you the best service ever. He opens from 9 to 5:30, Monday to Saturday. So pop in. James Shoe Care, 97 High Street, Barkingside, Essex, IG6 2AH. Visit jscbarkingside.co.uk. Call 07985 118 123. James Shoe Care, Barkingside. We're not just a load of cobblers.
Here's GY Radio, the little station with big intentions.
You better know that.